Bazooka Joe's.
It is 7 o'clock, and it's January the 13th, and we are opening our Town of Trophy Club Council meeting. And I want to say, of course, January 13th means Happy New Year to everyone. I have to say it. It's not too late to say Happy New Year. You have a full 12 months ahead of you. I hope it's a great year for each and every one of you, as well as I know the town is set to have a great year. And I want to welcome all of those who are online. And again, either you're watching now or you're watching later. And I appreciate you, we appreciate you tuning in to find out what's going on in your town of Trophy Club. We have a quorum, and we are ready to begin our meeting. So if you would please stand. Chaplain David Empoy will be our invocation.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Our prayer today is from 1 Chronicles 29:11. Yours, Lord, is the greatness and the power and the glory and the majesty and the spreader, for everything in heaven and earth is yours. Yours, Lord, is the kingdom. You are exalted as hand of all. And that's why we approach thy throne this evening, trusting you with our meeting, trusting you with our leadership, trusting you, Lord, to guide and inspire our city leaders with your wisdom, guide them with your word, and direct them, God, in every discussion and decision made. We pray for our state, God, as they govern and lead this great state of Texas. And we pray for the new leadership in the government that is coming in, that God, they will be inspired and guided by you. That God, your people who live in this country will be led in accordance with your will. And Lord, where everybody will experience your presence and benefit from the leaders, God, that you've given us. We pray, humbled, that God, you also remember them that are struggling, especially those that are suffering because of the fires in California. Them that God have lost everything. God, do not let them lose hope. Do not let them lose faith. Because God, you are with them and you will lift them up again. We pray for our young people in our city. We pray for our old people in the city. And we pray for the middle class in our city and them that are working, that God, we all live with one another in peace and harmony, inspired by your word in everything that we do, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
The pledges. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Yay. Yay, Texas. We will enter into public comments, and would you please read the directions for having a public comment, please?
Public comments. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the council on any matter pursuant to Texas Government Code 551007. Council is not permitted to discuss or take action on any presentations made concerning matters that are not listed on the agenda. Presentations are limited to matters over which the council has authority. Speakers have up to 3 minutes or the time limit determined by the presiding officer. Each speaker must have submitted their request to speak by completing a speaker's form. So your first speaker is, under public comments, is Elizabeth Nelson.
Okay, thank you. And as she's coming up, we have a new technology in our council chambers. You will notice we have a clock over there. It's a timer. So is it big enough? Can you see it? And at least the whole room can see it. So that helps us to stay focused and organized in our meetings. Thank you very much. Thank you for, it's big. Thank you. Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you.
My name is Elizabeth Nelson.
and I live in 267 Oak Hill Drive. I am a little nervous. I'm going to read my statement. Dear amazing mayor and esteemed council members, God bless you and thank you for your service to the Trophy Club community and for the opportunity to speak tonight. I have come here tonight to thank the council and to publicly reinforce and support your excellent Town of Patriots initiative, which aims to recognize the town's long-standing patriotic spirit. First, I am an immigrant U.S. citizen who loves America, Texas, and Trophy Club. My family moved here in February 2021, and we have been amazed, impressed, and have simply fallen in love with Trophy Club's community spirit and patriotism. It is very refreshing, especially at this time with all the division being sown across the country by the hate America crowd. Second, I would like to strongly object to the attempt at rewriting the definition of patriot. The fact that the few naysayers are using a woke article written by CNN and the fake insurrection that occurred on January 6, 2021 to attempt to redefine patriot is not okay with me. Any suggestion it has anything to do with being purely American and usually white is divisive and wrong. In my humble opinion, anyone suggesting this should look in the mirror and ask themselves why they see the world and Trophy Club through the lens of race, and I would suggest that they may actually be the problem. Merriam-Webster defines patriot as simple, someone who has love for or devotion to one's country. We can dislike our government and still love this country and its values given to us by God and our founders. America's incredible history is almost 250 years old, and this word has been written with the blood of 1.1 million Americans who have given the last full measure of devotion in warfare. My reaction to this dispute is similar to the debate over the treatment of our great American flag. The stars and stripes isn't just fabric, it's a symbol of freedom and sacrifice.
Elizabeth, I'm sorry, your time is up. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Jeff Eason.
Okay.
Hit it.
I'm Jeff Eason. I live at 605 Indian Creek Drive, and I wanted to come up. I did send the council an email. I wanted to come up and speak about that. It's item 11 on the agenda tonight, and that is in regard to the state of our trees in this town. Sent evidence. I really don't agree with that we should look for a tree designation this year. That's my opinion. There's a lot of work to be done. We have diseased trees, distressed trees, dead trees, and not taking care of them, and it's just getting worse and worse. I know that the council, we do have a plan, the Parks Plan, which is item 11 tonight, as well as the Tree City USA designation is tonight. Plans are great. It's the execution that matters. Most of the plan is stuff that we have been doing or should have been doing for years and years. This isn't a last year problem. This is a growing problem over years. So I'm just respectfully asking, I think we should look at ourselves and be honest about, are we a tree city or not? My personal opinion is we are not, because we don't make the requirements that it offers. And I will say to the plan, plans are great. It's the execution that matters. We've had lots of plans for amenities in the last 6 months. We don't seem to execute them very well, and that's the part that counts. Plans are nothing without execution. So just wanted to bring that up. Happy to have more discussion about the document I sent you guys. And as I said, happy to meet anyone in the park and walk through Harmony Park. And I do want to say, it's not just Harmony Park. You can drive the roads. There's dead trees. And the other thing I will say, last meeting there were people impassioned about enforcing code. That goes with trees too. We need to enforce codes on people's personal properties. If there are dead trees hanging over the road, we need to enforce code. So just wanted to offer that, say thank you for your time. If you were able to read my document and open it, hopefully you were. And look forward to, since I'm on the Parks and Rec Board and now we are also the Tree Board, I am going to make the request that that be an ongoing topic each time, because there's a lot of work that needs to be done for our trees, because they are our original amenity, and letting them die isn't going to happen on my watch. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
That's all we have.
Thank you for your presentations. We appreciate it. We've come to the community spotlight, and this is SOS International, and Councilman Luann will introduce them.
Well,
Luann Oldham, I'm sorry.
I'll take it either way.
Oh, did Larry want to speak? I filled out a form. Oh, I'm sorry.
Those were for item 12.
Oh, you're for item,
Public hearing?
oh, you're for item 12. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Larry.
Well, I'm delighted that we have such a multifaceted organization whose roots are in Trophy Club, and it's SOS International. They concentrate on helping children at risk. And with us tonight, we have their Director of Development, Shelley Harp. Shelley, if you'd stand up. And Ellen DeBoer, their Development Coordinator. I noticed that at the back, they had left some handouts, and I think she's going to tell you a little bit more about these. But they're at the back at the table where you got your comments cards. So, Shelley, we're just delighted to have you talk about this organization that has roots in Trophy Club. So please.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. My name is Shelley Hart, and it's really hard. I like to make eye contact, so I'm so sorry. You have to look at my backside. I have been with SOS for almost 3 months. I am the new development director, and of course Ellen is my fearless teammate. And I just wanted to share a little bit about who we are and a little bit of the roots, but I really wanted to focus on what we're doing in North Texas because it's huge, and I don't think you realize it's happening in your backyard. So I just wanted to touch base a little bit. The slides here, you told me how to do this. Is that what I did? Nope, did I do it right?
Nope, there you go.
Oh, okay, I need to do it. Okay, I want to talk about the areas of impact, and I'm going to hone in on one since time is limited. The 4 areas that we focus on with at-risk children is food, water, community development. And so in 2023, we were able to feed, I just want you to wrap your brains around this, 4,567,419 meals to at-risk children all over the world, and provided 23,500 people with safe access to clean drinking water. And until basic needs, until they're secure, nothing in an at-risk child's world is secure. SOS International has been here for over 20 years and has roots also in India and Asia and also Latin America with a focus in Costa Rica. The other thing we focus on is rescue. Rescue is huge. At-risk children that are hungry, that are in poverty are the children that are at risk most for trafficking. 2023 was a year in the books for us that was just absolutely amazing in the fight against trafficking. Not only did a massive impact happen on the ground with trafficking victims, but over 5.7 million people were reached through trafficking awareness and education efforts. These are the areas where we respond. And I love that this is happening out of this area, out of Trophy Club, Roanoke. I'm from Argyle. She's from Decatur. So I love how the Lord has put all of this together in order to really take care of hungry children. We respond in Asia, so India and Nepal. Of course, U.S. and domestic, which is what I'll talk most about tonight. And Latin and South America, focusing in Costa Rica and Venezuela. The DFW community outreach. I want to talk about these 4 things, and I'm going to go through it pretty quick because I just want you to know what's going on in this area. We have a warehouse in Fort Worth, and in this warehouse, what we do, like I said, it's located in Fort Worth, and we're kind of a middleman. So we have partners such as Pepsi, Matthew 25, you may recognize that nonprofit, Max Snacks, and Gold Rush Logistics. They donate food, water, snacks, and meals to our warehouse, along with lots of other things. We've had shoes, furniture, clothing, things that meet the needs of the people in this area. And what we do is we take those donations and we partner with 107 organizations, and we call them local care networks, that are on the ground in operation as we speak. And they come, and we provide them with those products, food, water, and all the snacks. And so those local networks that are on the ground in operation, and they know their communities, and they're directly involved in their communities, and then they distribute to give the food and water and those things to at-risk children. No child, and this is, if I say anything else, this is what I want you to hear tonight. No child should have to go hungry. Or be at risk to trafficking. We also partner with North Texas schools to provide mentoring to at-risk children. Ellen is involved with that personally. Just to tell you just a little bit about Texas. Texas leads the nation in food insecurity. 1 in 5 children in North Texas alone are at risk of hunger. And traffickers purposely target those suffering from poverty as a means of exploitation. And this comes from the United Nations Department of Defense and Crime. What I want you to hear, and I just want you to know, I didn't even think about this. And I've been involved in missions all over the world. But an effective feeding plan equals fewer children trafficked. I'd never really thought about that. But it makes complete sense because of how people target children that are suffering. So like I shared, we have the warehouse, the gifting kind, the partners such as Pepsi and all of that. Again, we're the middleman, and we get food to the people that are in need of it most and know their own communities. On average, we get shipments, and Gold Rush Logistics helps us with those, the shipping, and those are additional costs. So the partners that donate the food, they do all of that, but we cover shipping cost, and that can get expensive. It's an average of about $500 per mobilized truck to donate food and get it to children who need it. On average, 1 pallet of drinks will bless 75 families. On average, 1 pallet of cereal will bless 85 families. And SOS does have additional monthly costs to supplement food boxes with protein. Kids need protein. And that cost us around $3,500 a month. Another opportunity, and this is open to any business group, church, organization. You can have a serving opportunity. And it's customized to your group, your size, your time frame, so you can get your hands in it. We can talk about it all day, right? Yeah. And we can give money, and we can pray. But I hope you see that you have gifts and you have talents that the Lord has given you to take action. And so I want to personally invite you to an event. Luann mentioned this. It's actually next Thursday, and it's called Food Fight. We want to knock out hunger in North Texas. And so together we want to make a meaningful impact to knock out hunger in North Texas. I can't remember if you mentioned this, Luann, but our co-founders are Leslie and Dwayne Wehunt, and they actually live here in Trophy Club. And then our director, our executive director, is their daughter, Christy Anthony, and she lives here in Trophy Club. So we just wanted you to know the quality of people here. Like I said, I'm new to the area, and I have been so impressed. I agree completely. Where'd she go? I agree with you. Whoever talked first. I mean, it's just an amazing, amazing place that my family is enjoying. So I want to invite you, and we want to bring awareness of the needs in our own backyards of hungry children. It's going to be a fun evening, and you get dinner. Who doesn't like to eat for free, right? So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call me. My card is in the back as well, and that is my personal number. I want to answer any questions that you may have and see where you can get plugged in, where you can become a part of changing children's lives in North Texas and around the world. Thank you so much for having me tonight.
Thank you, Shelley. Mayor?
You know, I'd like to just close this with, we've had the opportunity, the purpose of the Community Spotlight is to spotlight people, organizations that are in Trophy Club, that impact Trophy Club and others. And we've heard from Lead Foundation, Meals on Wheels, now SOS, and even Trophy Club Women's Club, all are working to support our region, particularly Trophy Club, Roanoke, Argyle, in that area. So we appreciate it. Good work. Thank you very much. Okay, working for you. Any comments? We've not seen each other for like a long time. Certainly you have something to say. Anybody? No one? Nothing?
Madam Mayor, it's not exactly working for you under that category, but shout out to the chiefs. Everybody knows we had a fire here a couple days ago, and the response was just so impressive. And you don't really realize it. I mean, we're Trophy Club, and it was one house, and then you turn on the news, like I did tonight before you come over here, thousands and thousands and thousands of people, lost everything. And we had one home here, and the response from Trophy Club was just unbelievable. So hats off to the Chiefs for a great job, and I know there's more work to be done with the family that's out there, and we certainly wish them well.
Anyone else? Well, I have to say something, so I'm going to say that we have a robust 2025 year ahead of us. We're going to be busy. We're going to be seeing a lot of new opportunities come our way, and we just encourage you to stay connected. We've worked very hard this past year through Jill and through our other department heads in communicating with the town. So if you haven't signed up for your TC alerts. I encourage you to get on there so you won't miss a TC alert like I did. And also, the weekly newsletter is available to you every week, as well as Facebook and other ways, and your neighbors. So I'm just saying, know what's happening in your neighborhood, in your town, because it certainly makes a difference. And we are family. I just really do believe it. So thank you very much. And we are now going to hear from Mr. Wright, our town manager.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, Council. A couple things just to as updates. First of all, we had a very successful snow event this past week. Thank you to our staff who really helped out with that, our police department, fire department, streets department, parks. Everyone played a critical role in helping make sure that Trophy Club remained safe. We had 0 traffic accidents during that time, so we're just very happy about that. We do have a council retreat coming up next week, January 23rd and 24th. We'll be focusing on our business plan goals and updates for that, our strategic plan goals. And we'll also be working on talking about the rules of Robert's Rules of Order. There you go. One of the items on the agenda tonight is item number 6 on the consent agenda. The refers to changing the town's Trophy Club's official newspaper for notification purposes from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram to the Commercial Recorder. I bring it up because the name that's on the agenda says Commercial Reporter. That's just a typo on there. It is the Commercial Recorder. All right, so we'll be corrected. It's been corrected to reflect that in the proper name of the newspaper, which is obviously the Commercial Recorder. If approved by the council, we'll utilize our communications department to make sure that residents know about that change. Okay. Boards and commissions, we do have on January 16th, this Thursday, an EDC board meeting that begins at 7 o'clock here in council chambers. We invite the public to come and to attend that with us. And then also as a reminder that we have a holiday coming up, Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, that will be on Monday, January 20th. During that time, town hall will be closed. Obviously, our emergency services will still be provided to the community. And we do not have a council meeting for the second meeting of January. That's normally have been held on January 27th. No council meeting that day. Again, you have the council retreat on January 23rd and 24th. And that's all I have for this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Oh, and just as a reminder, the council retreat is open to public, correct?
It is, yes.
So you are invited 2 days.
And that's a good point.
Thursday and Friday.
If anyone's interested in attending, though, if you come here, you're going to miss it.
Yes.
So we will be at the Metroport Chamber building. That's over in Roanoke for that. They have a room that they allow us to use for special gatherings. So we'll be there.
It's on Byron Nelson, the Metroport office area.
Correct. Yeah. When we post the agenda, you can find the address of it there on the agenda.
But you're invited. I look forward to seeing you there. Okay. We now hear from our attorney.
Okay. So tonight on your agenda, you have the proposed rules of procedure. You also have a zoning item, so I thought it'd be helpful to look at the rules of procedure and kind of explain that every once in a while there's an exception to your general rule that you need 4 affirmative votes to pass an ordinance resolution to take action. Sometimes the threshold is a little bit higher, sometimes a little bit lower. So if you're talking about a charter amendment, then 2/3 vote of the entire council is required. If you're just canvassing an election, then you only need 2 people to have a quorum. If you are overturning a recommendation for denial from the Planning and Zoning Commission, then 3/4 vote is required. So just so that general public understands how that works, every once in a while you have a different vote that's required for an action to be approved.
Okay, thank you.
Consent agenda? Do you want me to read the items?
No. Is there a motion for consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ryland seconds that. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, motion passes. Thank you. We will go to individual items.
Item 12, Case PD AMD 24-004, PD 13 Amendment, Tract 1, Ship Shop. Conduct a public hearing and consider an ordinance amending Plan Development District 13, Tract 1, to allow for truck and trailer rental as an accessory use with outdoor storage and display vehicles. The applicant is David Sanders, owner of the Ship Shop, The subject property is legally described as the Village at Trophy Club, Lot 1, approximately 3.79 acres, Denton County, Texas, and is generally located at the northwest corner of Trophy Club Drive and State Highway 114. The property is addressed as 2003 East Texas 114, Suite 340, Trophy Club, Texas.
Okay, we will open a public hearing. It's 7:30, and before we get started, please, Matt, indulge me, because I would like to read the procedure as we go forward. Tonight, we have several public hearings, as you will notice on our agenda, and I want to briefly explain the process. I'll open the public hearing, which I just did. Then the staff shall provide a report, which Matt will be doing. And if an applicant is involved, they will be invited to present next, followed by an opportunity for members of the public to speak. Once all comments are received, the public hearing will be closed. And then the council will consider the related agenda item and hold a discussion. Before the council takes any action, citizens will be given another opportunity to speak. Now, due to the number of public hearings this evening, we will be adhering to a 3-minute time limit per speaker. And we appreciate you working with us on this to make our evening move through and get our business done in an orderly fashion. Thank you so much. Matt.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. Happy New Year. I'm going to go here to this first slide. So I wanted a quick brief just on location. So Ship Shop is in Track 1. Track 1 is everything just west of 7-Eleven. PD 13 consists of 4 tracks. 7-Eleven would be Track 2. Meet You Anywhere would be Track 3. And then the Bank and Executive Suites is Track 4. So for this evening, we're talking about Track 1. Ship Shop, if you're facing Ship Shop, just to the left would be Christina's, and then to the right would be Vinny's. They're kind of nestled there in between the two. A little bit of history. So back May 3rd last year, staff received an email from Mr. Sanders regarding the U-Haul business. He was inquiring about bringing some larger U-Haul trucks to the parking lot. We researched the existing ordinances and PDs, and we notified Mr. Sanders about a week later on the 17th that this use was not allowed. We informed him he really had 2 options. So he could terminate the U-Haul business that he had or request a rezone. And so he elected to request to go through the zoning process. Mr. Sanders, he's been in contact with staff since then, and on the 16th, he submitted a full application, everything that we needed to continue on with this request. So our ordinances and PD 13 does not have a definition for truck and trailer rental. So as you know, if it's not listed in that use in the PD, then it's prohibited. Staff, we took liberty and got on websites, other towns, other cities, compiled their definitions. So in the packet in the agenda, you'll see where we've got a proposed definition that we gave to P&Z, and then same to you this evening. So we've got truck, cargo van, and cargo trailer rental would be the display and offering for rent of trucks, maximum size 26 feet, medium duty, cargo vans, and then also cargo trailers designed to be towed by vehicles. So also in our staff memo, you see that we proposed 11 conditions that should be considered if this use was to be allowed. Some of these things are maximum numbers of trucks, and in the parking lot, no parking behind. We've got a fire lane, things like that. We included these conditions in the ordinance also. That's our draft ordinances in the packet. Our notice of public hearing was distributed as required by the town zoning ordinance and state law. Town attorney has reviewed the ordinance as to form and legality. This evening, and I know you mentioned kind of the order, this evening we've got two board members from my planning and zoning board.
Yes.
Chairman Biggs and Commissioner Kesterson, sorry, not Terry, Commissioner Kesterson. They're going to be here to review the December 12th meeting. The applicant, Mr. Sanders, is also here. I'll be available for questions whenever as well. At this point, I'd like to turn over to Chairman Biggs.
Certainly. Thank you.
Mayor, Council, Happy New Year. There's a lot of information available here in this little handout he gave you. We considered this at our last meeting. There were 5 people who spoke against it, and then Mr. Sanders came up and gave his presentation, which was a lot of information also. There were a lot of questions, a lot of comments, back and forth, back and forth. The problem that I saw in it was that we had a lot of information and not much time to talk about it and get down to details. So I think when Commissioner Kesterson made his motion to approve the change and amend PD 13 to make this a use, and then have the applicant, if he still wanted to come back through the special use permit process, that would get us more time, allow the business a little more time to give us more information and what the situation might be. We kept getting questions about how many trucks would be out there at one time. 3. Well, the next morning there were 4. So there's a lot of, we could have gone through the specific use, special use permit, I think, and gotten more information to consider this for all parties, those who were opposed to it and those who were for it. There were 5 people that spoke against it, and Mr. Sanders presented a petition that had 182 names on it. Citizens of Trophy Club, we were told. So the numbers didn't add up to me. So we thought we would try. I thought that's where it was going as far as the committee goes. And so Mr. Kesterson made the motion, and it was denied. We had 4 to 2 vote against it. I voted for it. Mr. Kesterson voted for it. So that's how we got to where we are today. That's kind of the theory behind it.
Okay.
Any questions?
We can't do that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll call you back later.
Mr. Chairman, we'll talk to you later. Is there someone else who wants to speak?
The applicant at this point.
Mr. Matt? Mr. Sanders?
Okay, I only have 3 minutes, or do I got more?
No, you're.
All right. Basically, as you can see, why we're here, this started, as Matt said, back in May. I'm not looking at this as basically a problem with the U-Haul vehicles and parking anymore. I'm looking at it as a service I provide to Trophy Club. I've had the ship shop for 6 years. I started doing the U-Haul trailers basically back in November of 2023. My mistake, I was not aware of the planning and zoning concern. When I was made aware of it, I immediately contacted Matt and started with the problem and how to resolve it. Basically, I've been assigned by U-Haul 2 vans and 1 trailer on a permanent basis that stay there and don't go out of town. They sometimes give me 2 or 3 more trailers. I'm not assigned big trucks at all. Every now and then a big truck will come in on what's called a drop-off, where someone will drop it off there. Currently, right now, I do have a 20-footer sitting there. It is going out tomorrow morning to Virginia. It was a drop-off. but there has been questions brought up, there's other U-Hauls available. Well, on this slide here, you will see where the closest U-Hauls are. There's a U-Haul 1.6 miles away in Roanoke. He handles one van, and he's very particular on who he gives it to. There's a U-Haul 3.1 miles away in Roanoke. If anyone has seen that one, that's the one that has the truck rotating in the air. Very hard to get to because of all the road construction. There's another U-Haul sitting over in Grapevine, 5.7 miles away. He installs hitches. I don't install any hitches. So is there one in Trophy Club besides me? No. I'm the only one. Now, just for your own information, since I opened that store, of Trophy Club residences, Trophy Club people, since I opened the store, I have serviced 500 and, got to put my glasses on, sorry. 578 Trophy Club people with U-Hauls. That's Trophy Club. Those people would have taken their business out of Trophy Club. Do you all want Trophy Club people taking their business out of Trophy Club? Do you? Take my U-Haul away. They'll take their business out of Trophy Club. Understand, these people are buying, when they bring a truck back, where are they buying their gas to fill the truck back up? 7-Eleven next door. Where are they buying when the new customers come in and they bring a truck or a trailer back? First thing they say to me is, "Where's a good place to eat?" I tell them, "Vinny's next door, Christina's next door, fantastic food." Take my U-Haul business away. Where are they going to go? They're going to, if they're up there in Roanoke, they're going to go wherever they tell them. If they're in Grapevine, where are they going to tell them? Take my U-Haul business away. You're going to take business away from Trophy Club. Which one am I pushing down? This one or this one? Oh, down arrow, thank you. Okay, so for me, U-Haul is nothing more than a service I provide to Trophy Club residents. Okay? Yeah, I park vehicles. I don't park them, or trailers and trucks. I don't park them all over the place like what you see at a normal U-Haul. If you've been to a normal U-Haul, you see them parked all over the place in a juxtaposition everywhere. I park them along the hedgerow out by the street. I park two vans straight out from the store because they are set up in a way that a customer can get it in the middle of the night. The keys are on the front post of the door. They can pick it up in the middle of the night. A Trophy Club resident can come get a van in the middle of the night without me being there. I park the trailers way down at the other end. Out of the way, the restaurants have no problem with them. I have a restaurant owner here tonight to talk to you and tell you that. But to me, it's nothing more than a service I provide to the community, just like everything else we do at our store. We package and ship your packages by UPS, FedEx, ground or express, or by overseas with DHL. It says OHL. It's supposed to be DHL. Sorry about that. We do everything the UPS can, the United States Post Office can do. Now, wait a minute. How many people went to the post office at Christmas time and stood in a 2-hour line? Do you know I can do everything the post office can do and you won't stand in a 2-hour line? I can do everything the post office can do. I am a certified post office. You won't stand in line. Anyone try to find a post office drop box in Trophy Club? There's not one. Used to be one where? Right outside here. It's gone. I can take your drop-off mail, and I won't charge you a thing. Okay? We can cut keys, passport photos, laminating, binding, faxing, notarizing of your documents.
Point of order. Point of order.
Yes, sir.
We need to stick to the facts of the zoning case.
That's what I'm getting to.
Thank
It's
you.
all a service I provide. Okay? The trailers are a service. This is a service. It's all a service. That's what I'm getting to. Okay? So what's going to happen if you lose U-Haul? U-Haul is 30% of my income. If I lose U-Haul, that's 30% of my income. If I lose U-Haul, I can't survive. Okay? That's what I'm trying to get to. You want it as a point of order? Here's the point of order. Take my U-Haul away, Ship Shop's going to go away. All the stuff I provide as a service is going somewhere else. Okay? If it closes, drop-off packages in 2024, 16,000 UPS, that was $13,000 in profit. Post office, 7,000. My post office doesn't give me any profit. DHL, $99. FedEx Ground, $3,400 in profit. FedEx Express. All this profit's going to be gone. It's going to have to go somewhere else. This money is going to go outside of Trophy Club. Here's what my lot normally looks like on the left, okay? On the right would be if I have max load trailers. Okay? Someone had said, you got big signs. The only sign I have advertising U-Haul is that little one on the front door. Okay? And those two vans are the only two vans I have. A 10-foot truck and a van. Okay? U-Haul income. Okay? 2023 was $21,000 of a net income out of it of $3,800. 2024 was $61,000 of a net income of $11,000. Okay. My landlord has approved U-Haul usage. Okay. So it's in the contract which he has approved. And I included in your packet is the 148 residents that have signed a petition against U-Haul being taken away from me. It's in your packet. Okay? Whoops, don't want to go there. All right, so basically, if you want to take away U-Haul, I can't stop you. I'm requesting that you really think about it because you are taking money and taxes and everything else that's in U-Haul and you're sending it out of the town. Okay, so you're sending it somewhere else. You're sending Trophy Club residents to do their business someplace else.
Are you finished?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Are there anybody else, Matt, for the? Okay. So what we'd like to do then is go to the next step, and that is members of the public. You have 3 minutes to speak. And did they sign up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go for it.
Your first speaker is Larry Hoover.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Larry Hoover. I live at 1118 Berkshire Court in Trophy Club. I've lived in this town for 43 years. If this, Mr. Sanders was really concerned about not impacting the customers in the parking lot, he would have parked his trucks at the far corner by the west exit. We went to Christina's, which we do probably once a week, and there was a big truck parked right in front of Christina's, and that's an inconvenience. So I'm opposed to using that parking lot for commercial parking lot for trucks because there'll be more than 3. But if you capitulate, I would ask that you restrict him to 3 or 4 parking spaces at the west end of the parking lot and not in the middle. Thank you.
David Dill.
Thank you very much. I was going to speak in favor of the Ship Shop, but I think now with the changes to the zoning, it may not be applicable. I've spent several days reading the commercial zoning rules that are published. I got to them through the TrophyClub.org website, and it talked in very particular about what was allowed and what wasn't allowed. And it seemed very interesting to me that they were very particular, the laws, the zoning was very particular about the buildings, size of the buildings, shape of the buildings, direction of where they are, they can't face each other, and all that kind of stuff, what kind of signs they can have. But it did mention one thing that was available, commercial vehicles. They were not defined. It simply said commercial vehicles. There was no number given, whether they were trucks, cars, trailers. It didn't say. It said that a person who's doing business in the commercial area that is licensed to do business is in fact entitled to have commercial vehicles parked there if he uses them in his business. Now, if you're going to change all that, then that's a moot point, but that's the way it's right now, according to your own published functions. I think if you find that that's objectionable, you should take a look at what's over on the other side at the 7-Eleven and beyond in the new development, where you very often cannot find a place to park because there's so many cars parked there and trucks. You should take a look at the apartments, where people who do not park inside park along Trophy Club Drive, and they're there for the day and all night long. Also, take a look at Meet You Anywhere, where they have a large metal container for scrap food and waste that sits in the middle of their parking lot, and it is not behind the store, the required brick or wooden enclosures. And they also have a mobile food preparation truck that sits there between uses. And it's evidently okay with everybody, since nobody seems to be picking on them. So all I do is I wonder why they're after the chip shop when it's obviously not anywhere near what's available in the rest of Trophy Club, the front of Trophy Club. So, but if you're going to change everything, then this is a well, I have more time. So.
Use it or lose it.
No, I'm going to lose it. So I just hope that you take that in consideration, that the existing law, which Mr. Sanders is working under, allows him to do what he wants to do, because it does not define what commercial vehicles are. It just says they're allowed. So, okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And I cede back my 25 seconds.
It does work, doesn't it? It's pretty cool.
You have it positioned just exactly right.
It is? Okay, good.
Next speaker is Patricia Keeper.
I guess it clicks it back to, yeah.
That'll go away next.
Hi, my name is Pat Kiefer. At some risk, I am sharing my 40-year address at 216 Fresh Meadow Drive. I say risk because at the last meeting where we discussed U-Hauls, Mr. Sanders angrily threatened me and every person who opposed having U-Hauls in front of our town. Even at age 74, I am unwilling to be bullied. I'm a numbers-oriented person, so while my small business heart wants to say yes, my head says no because of the numbers. There are 10 sets of numbers in my analysis. Given the time, I will cover 1, 2, 7, and 10. Signage numbers. With the proposal of 10 dedicated 9-foot wide parking spaces that would create 90-foot wide display of orange, black, and white U-Haul industrial style signage. The back of this room is equivalent to 5 parking spaces. Take a moment to visualize 5 U-Hauls parked behind me, and then double it. That is the size of 3 billboards facing Texas Highway 114. The same 3 billboard equivalents would face all of the owners of the shops within Track 1. That's 180 feet of signage, or 6 billboards. U-Hauls are painted on all 4 sides, so a 7th billboard worth of signage would greet each customer as they patronize Track 1. Nothing about U-Haul signage is subtle. I can't think of anywhere else in our town that we have 7 billboards worth of signage available to a single business. Number 2, real estate is all about the numbers. I stand with the real estate agents who have written objections to having U-Hauls at the front of their town. They feel that it lowers the economic visual adds to a residential neighborhood. Since 2/3 of our budget depends upon having high home values, I would suggest that that is not in our best interests. Number 7, there are 3 precedent-setting numbers. First, allowing the equivalent of 7 billboard signage for a single business. Second, the amendment solely benefits a single business with no guarantee that the change in zoning would secure a good future for this business. They lived for 5 years without the U-Haul business. Third, the legally proper notification was given to people within 200 feet of this property, and yet it impacts everyone within Trophy Club. And finally, I would ask for the same consideration that Mr. Sanders requested for his own Keller neighborhood. He asked the Keller Town Council, okay.
You have 5 minutes.
May I have?
No, I'm sorry.
Mr. Hoover's 2 minutes?
He didn't have 2 minutes.
He had 2 minutes left.
It's a 3-minute.
Our
28
rules,
seconds.
our rules of procedure
Okay.
do permit for the chair's discretion to be exercised, however.
I know, so would someone like to second that?
We get the point, I think. We get the point.
Thank you.
This is why I don't like time.
Thank you.
Next speaker.
Kenneth Colsty.
Howdy. My name is Ken Colsty. I'm at 14 Chimney Rock. I have experience in city council and planning and zoning meetings. I, in a previous life, was a finance analyst in Colleyville, and the bane of our city manager's existence was a futon shop that kept a couch on the roof, right on 26. So I understand the aesthetics of a major artery and what it looks like. But in this case, this is not a residential neighborhood. No one is seeing this from their dining room table. It is around the side of the building on the front of a strip mall, basically. And say what you want about strip malls, they are functional. For years, I fought with the ladies at my church, function over aesthetics. And they didn't want me to use a big igloo cooler because it looked ugly, but it was functional. And the same thing here. This provides a service that people need in Trophy Club. It's filling a slot with a rent-paying owner. And if that slot is empty, then the property value of that strip mall goes down and you get less in tax. So I do support this if there are good rules and stipulations and agreements to keep providing the service.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Janet Beatty.
Janet, oh, there you are.
Hi. Hello. Hi, my name is Janet Beatty, 18 Hillcrest Court, South. I came here and I'd written a nice little speech, and all I have to say is for the people who are for David's continuing using his U-Haul, I did all that. But the reason why I did come up here also, not having my speech, is to say, David, thank you for everything that you've done for the people here, for offering your services that otherwise we have to go to Roanoke for, and for be willing to have the prices that you do, that you keep down for us. I'm a frugal shopper, shall we say, and David's prices are amazing. We appreciate that, and we appreciate your being here, providing the services that you do.
Thank you.
Deborah Johnson.
I'm Deborah Johnson. I live on 6 Hill Court. That house was built in March of '84, so therefore I'm a longtime Trophy Club resident. My husband also has built other houses in this beautiful area in which we choose to retire in. Mr. Sanders has been more than helpful for us as we have been in our retirement and had many changes in our life. It's very happy to be able to just go down to 7-Eleven, which my street's very close to his, and get all the services that we need with a smile on his face and knowing that he is not inflating prices for us. The fact with the U-Hauls, we have grandchildren that will be moving in and out of colleges, to drive right to there and to know the man who services these U-Hauls would make a big difference to us if we were to have to haul everything back from Fayetteville, Arkansas, which probably we will have to do in May. So I think the service that he provides for Trophy Club is way beyond any other services. I think that we need, as Trophy Club, when Trophy Club first began, we were considered elitists, and we live in Trophy Club and la 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 la. And I think the real world is we live in Trophy Club, we take care of our community members, and we look forward to Trophy Club building a better foundation. And this is a way to build a better foundation for Trophy Club, is to have services with a smile from David Sanders and all of the things that he can provide for us. So I am definitely one of his loyal customers. He has sent things back from UPS. I'm a shopper that buys way too much, and I have to send it back. And he has done a lot of affidavit for us and been the notary for us. He has made many, many, many prints for us in lots of different sizes. My husband and my son remodel homes, therefore they have to have things done in big sizes. Never is there a wait. Never is there a problem. Always there is a smile. If David loses his business because of just having the 3 to 4 U-Hauls out in front, it would be a sad day for Trophy Club residents. Thanks.
Thank you.
Richard Baker.
Hi, Richard Baker. My wife Robin and I live at 7 Glen Eagles Court. We lived in Trophy Club since 1994. So we're relative newcomers to some of these folks that I've heard speak already. But I am pro-business, I am pro-ship shop, and I would hate to see any business be driven out of business by a policy that is not in favor of supporting our town and our city. I can't really add anything to what's already been said tonight, but just ask that you consider that, and we appreciate all the work that you do as our council.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Jennifer Fox.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer Fox at 2753 Enfield Drive here in Trophy Club. And I can finish Patricia's quote that she was talking about. She said, "Let me be clear, we are residents who buy everything we can in Trophy Club because the businesses pay the town sales taxes and property taxes." In closing, a quote in Mr. Sanders' protest in his own neighborhood against industrial development at the front of his Keller neighborhood was, this is what he said, quote, "Please do not ruin our neighborhoods by approving the permit request," that he was alluding to. So I'm against this. I spoke at the P&Z meeting we were all referencing to. I sure wish I had met the David that everyone has spoken before that was Smiley, because he verbally threatened me and the other ladies that were there right after the meeting. He came out, was quite irate, said he was going to sue Patricia. I'm going to name all of you in the lawsuit too, he said. I have never been verbally threatened. Honestly, my husband wanted to come tonight because he was so upset with what all transpired, but we have 2 little kids at home, then can't get a babysitter on a school night. So I'm here again alone. I hate that we have to honestly say that our home address is in front of all of this now. I hope that can be considered at some point. So that was just really disappointing how that all went down. Really, I'm also very pro-business. My dad's a small business owner as well. I just think that the town doesn't need, the town of Trophy Club having U-Haul signs right when we come into our town is not the image we want to reflect for property values that continue to go sky high, which Denton Cat and everybody else loves for our taxes. We are the people you guys need to be listening to. We as the taxpayers, not the business owners. They do pay business tax, but we are the citizens here of Trophy Club. So I really ask you to consider that from a homeowner's perspective. As I mentioned before, I'm short in my car. I can't hardly see past when I'm driving in the tons of traffic on 114 with all the U-Hauls there. You can't even see the signs for Christina's there. So there is a visible obstruction with these trucks there. And I just ask you guys to please consider that. I don't support the visibility of how that will make our town look. But I do appreciate all of your service, and it's an honor to meet you guys in person. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, if Deborah Higgins.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Deborah Higgins, 194 Durango. I have been in business for multiple years, and as we all know, with any company, whether it's large or small, you have to have diversification. In David's case, not only does he do FedEx, UPS, DHL, copy, notary, he also has U-Haul. As he pointed out, it is 30% of his income for his revenue for his store. It employs his employees, himself, and he pays taxes. As a mother, a wife, a business person, it is a convenience to me. I don't know how many of you buy things at Amazon that you have to return. I drop it off. I don't have to fill out any forms. They scan and go. Same thing with FedEx, UPS, et cetera. For Pat's remark about the signage, I think she's exaggerating it a little bit. It is 114 Service Road. It's technically Westlake. If you have an accident on that road, they call Westlake, which is actually Keller PD. So, you know, are we, you know, sort of fighting about, I realize it's Trophy Club property. But I have never had a parking problem there. I do eat at Vinnie's. I do it at Christine's. I even get my nails done at Evolve. I've never had a problem parking. So I just want to support David because he does provide a service for our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah.
Pony up there.
Pardon?
Pony up.
Oh, yeah, pony up. ACC.
Next speaker, and I apologize for Santa Mantic.
I'm sorry, what was the name again?
It's
I'm sorry.
Cinta. There we go.
Thank you. Thank you
My
for helping us. We need help. Thank you.
It's okay. Been here 27 years, heard the Laura. Evening. My name is Cindy Shamandic, 214 Durango Drive, Trophy Club. In favor of Ship Shop. I do want to say first, thank you for the gentleman that just departing for doing the homework on zoning. I did experience a bit of a trouble with your zoning rules and laws. So I guess that's for all of our tax dollars for you guys to do some work and clarify it a little bit. My experience was actually trying to lower the speed limit on Durango Drive. But different meeting, different pro. Anyway, as a business owner, I want to say, as a ship shop, having it over here in Trophy Club, not only that's convenient, but also it's extremely cheap. Yes, I will say you do need to raise your prices a bit. Because running a business of my own in a construction, I am aware of the inflation, I'm aware of the rising cost of the labor, goods, materials, and everything else. So as a convenience, it's fantastic. And oh, by the way, if you are in Trophy Club, if you're preaching community, why do I have to go to Roanoke to ship anything? I want to have it over here in Trophy Club. If I'm paying taxes over here, if my kids are going over here, by the way, back, why do I have to go elsewhere to do any business? We are set for anything like that. So, thank you much.
You still have time.
1:50.
We're making good use of this clock tonight, I will tell you.
I think it should go $1 a minute, $1 a second, but it's okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lisa Garcia.
Hello.
Hi, Lisa.
I'm the general manager of Christina. So this is my first time here. I live in Fort Worth. So I took the drive over here to support David. He has been so nice. I've been working Christina's Trophy Club for about 4 years. And he's doing a great job. Every time that I'm there, he's very, very kind and very helpful with customers there. And I actually use his service for notarized documents. Even I used the U-Haul one time. So it was very convenient for me because it was next door. So And I'm here just to support him, share my experience with him as a person, as a business owner. I have some other little business on my own, so I understand when you lose 30% of your income, it's going to affect him. I don't want to see him away. I think I want to keep him as a neighbor because he's next door to me, and we help each other when we need help on anything. You know, I help him sometimes translate for him when he has somebody in Spanish. So I go over there, I translate for him, and he buy from me food and help my staff. Making copies, U-Hauls, whatever, anything that my staff need, I always recommend him. So because he have good prices on whatever all the services that he has, and also I think to keep the U-Haul business there is a service that help the community, not only for Trophy Club, but I think for all the near areas. I think all the areas, maybe 2-3 miles, they're very. There's traffic everywhere. So because the construction on 114, I think it's convenient sometimes. People go over there because you're in and out of that shopping center sometimes. And I think it's convenient to have a whole business there. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Christine.
Latusa Koresh?
Koresh, yeah, thank you. Hi, I'm Dr. Atusa Koresh. I'm a physician, and I have a practice in South Lake, but a lot of my practice is a telemedicine. So I live at 90 TrophyClub Drive, which most of you probably recognize as a relatively new address. I'm renting while I look for a house in Trophy Club, so I don't have a house address yet, but I have an apartment address. I actually initially moved to Trophy Club thinking I would stay here less than a year, and was planning to buy a house in either Grapevine or South Lake. And after living here, I've fallen in love with this community and plan to stay. So one of the things I loved about this community is that people told me that it was snobbish and pretentious, and I found out that it was actually the opposite when I moved here. And one of my first experiences when I first unpacked and was looking for supplies and things that I needed in the unpacking situation was with ShipShop. And since then, I've used them countless times. They're less than a half a mile from where I live. So they helped me when I was last minute, had to renew my passport, didn't realize my passport was expiring and had to renew it. And they do passport photos of, just like every, it's better than a typical mail shop in so many ways. And the U-Hauls, honestly, I didn't even notice them or realize that they were a thing until I heard last week when I went in there to drop off things for my business of UPS that this was an issue. So I feel like it's noticeable for a few people. It's not actually noticeable for. I'm a doctor. I pride myself on my observational skills. Okay, it's noticeable for a few people who are looking for a certain look to every section of their town. But honestly, the way that this town looks from a service road of a highway is not what people use to judge the town. Okay, the way that they feel when they come into the businesses is how they judge the town. The way that they feel when they drive down the roads is how they judge the town. And so I know that no one is passing judgment on Trophy Club based on a few trailers parked in the parking lot. And more than anything, I feel like if we lose this business, it's not just an inconvenience to not have a place where there's post coming in and out and all of these other services. It's actually detrimental to business function. The days that I work from home, which is about half the days right now, my practice is in South Lake, but half the days that I work from home, it's actually crucial for me that they stay open long enough that after business hours I can get there and post things before they leave. So I would have to figure out a way to do that, and there's not really, even the other ship shops don't have extended hours, like the ones in South Lake and Grapevine don't have extended hours like the ship shop. So it's actually a regional service. It's not just a Trophy Club service. And I wouldn't be surprised if people from Westlake and Roanoke are coming to us.
I'm sorry, your time is, thank you.
Of course, I talk more than anyone else. Sorry, but I'm in favor. Thank you.
Your next speaker is Wendy Majusik.
To ring.
Okay.
I thought it rang.
I stopped looking.
I live in Westlake, and my name is Wendy Maguziak, and I go to see Dave at least once or twice a week to either return packages. We've used him for shredding. You know, he's always a very kind gentleman and always goes out of his way to help and make sure that my packages and everybody else's packages get there safely, securely, not broken. So I'm really in favor of it. I've never noticed ever the U-Hauls on the access road. Never noticed it until he mentioned it to me. So I don't feel that they're an eyesore. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nancy Acevedo.
Hi, I'm a Ship Shop customer, and I go to Ship Shop again to do more or less the same services, but I wanted to add that they also have fax. And sometimes when you are doing like a complaint with the bank, it requires you to do fax. And where do you find a fax? That's how I found the Chip Shop. I come from Justin, Texas, and I have to go down to Chip Shop because it was the only fax services that I had around to do my complaint with the credit card. So that's one of the things. And I took like a video, and I don't know if there's a way that I can share it with you, showing the 114, how it looks like. And you don't really see because you see the cars parked, and it's very difficult to differentiate, you know, the cars parked from the vans, from the U-Haul vans. So I don't really see the issue. And then when you go to the store, you have to enter to the store to actually see the vans that are parked like in the last parking spots of the park, of the business. So there's no like, I don't see like there's any, like somebody said, eyesore about the Chip Shop. So the other thing is, it's very good to have like a mailing service. They sometimes during the holidays close a little later, and when you have to do like legal stuff and you are running out of time, they are like my only way to like send the stuff before, you know, the deadlines go out. So you are going to be losing some services that, you know, that you don't find anywhere else. So that's everything that I want to add for the Chip Shop. And is there any way that I can share the video?
No, ma'am.
No? Oh, okay.
Thank you.
But thank you for the moment.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Next speaker is Smokey DeVerne.
Good evening. I'm Smokey DeVerne. I live at 6 Palmetto Court in Trophy Club. I've lived in Trophy Club since 1995. I'm proud of the community. My husband and I have been very, very happy here. And I'm a frequent patron of the businesses up there at the front entrance, Vinnie's, Christina's, and the Ship Shop, as well as Anamia's and all the other ones. I like to support our businesses here. You know, businesses were a long time coming to Trophy Club. We didn't have all this when I first moved out here. We had to go elsewhere. So I'm very happy with the conveniences and the services that we have now so close in our own community. I myself never noticed those U-Hauls until recently, and I wasn't aware there was a problem until I went in to see you the other day and saw the sign on the door that there was an issue here at the town council, so I didn't want to miss it. The ship shop is a very convenient and necessary service and business to our community. It offers a lot of convenience to many, many, many people. I am confused, pardon me, by what you said about the billboards, the equivalent of how many billboards the U-Hauls were equivalent to. I just didn't understand that at all. And also, I was confused by the short lady that said that she couldn't see the signs for Vinnie's and Christina's from the road. That's not true. But anyway, to make a long story short, I have used you, and I hope you are able to stay open. You provide a real service to us, and I think it would be a shame to lose any business, but not this one, okay?
Thank you, Sonny.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
There are no more public comments, but we did, for the record, receive 3 emails. One spoke this evening, Patricia Kiefer. Second that came in through email, Jennifer Windmill, 7 Overhill Drive, who's sent an email in opposition, and Kathy Ford, 400 Hilltop, who spoke in opposition.
Okay, thank you. Then what we will do now is we will, any other public hearing, any other comments? Any comments? I'm closing it. It's 8:21. We are closing the public hearing, and we will open it to the council to consider the agenda item, which is that of an ordinance.
I guess I would like to have Matt speak specifically to what is being proposed. Could you just give an overview? Not necessarily for the council, I mean, it's for us too, but for everybody in general, so we're on the same page of.
All right, let me go back. So specifically, so PD 13 does not have this even as a use. So right now, can't do it. It's not allowed. So first and foremost, that use would need to be added to the PD 13. So we've got in there amending the PD 13, Track 1, to allow for truck and trailer rental as an accessory use with outdoor storage and vehicle display of vehicles. What came up during P&Z, and Chairman Biggs alluded to it, and I think Terry was the one that made the motion, was adding to that by SUP. As y'all know, when it comes to SUPs, we can sit down and really dig down, and those can, it's only this, you're allowed this, but not that. So that's where the motion was going. I don't know if I'm quite answering your question, though.
I think I'm looking in our packet where you have outlined 11 items for the ordinance.
Okay, so.
Is that what you're talking about?
So we didn't even get to that during the P&Z meeting. So, but those were things that staff that we had said, basically, these are things that you really need to look at when making this amendment. So we just kind of outlined and went through things, either things that he said that he was going to do or not do, and then a few of the things that we disagreed. This isn't one of them, but if he said, I want 20 trucks, and we're saying, no, we want 2. So we had that in the packet as well, kind of a chart that showed what the applicant's request was, and then what staff's response to that was.
May I just say, a follow-up to that very quickly is, based on those 11, before we really get to talking, does he, Mr. Sanders, agree with those 11?
We did discuss, and I haven't changed them since, they haven't been changed since P&Z, so I can let you speak to it, but I'm pretty sure he was agreeable.
Are you aware of what we're talking about, these 11 items in the ordinance in terms of?
It was in the chart.
Right, those are the 11 right there.
We didn't have specifics on vehicles, or things like that. Again, that was,
Right.
for P and Z and council to determine on that.
Okay.
We made our recommendations.
Okay. I just wanted some clarity on if we know all about this. So Dennis
All right,
wants to.
specifically to this, okay? If it does get into an SUP, and if it gets through council, is that tonight, or does he have to come back again and apply for an SUP?
He needs to come back again and apply for an
So we can't make it tonight.
That's right. You'd just be approving the amendment to the ordinance. He would need to apply for an SUP. and
Is
then-
that because of the way the agenda item's written?
Yes, is because of the way the draft ordinance is written. It's also because there's no provision for this use right now in PD 13.
And he has to put another $500 up?
Matt, is it 5 or 300? What is the
For SUP?
application?
We have the ability to waive.
All right.
Can only waive.
Okay, so he has to come back again, right?
That's correct.
But his current operations remain the same until that happens. And can that fee be waived? Because this is, excuse me, I was about to say something.
Yeah.
Malarkey.
Okay, and I don't know if it'll get through council tonight. I'm just saying, but if it did, and I'm for him, but I'm for it as a SUP only, and that's why I was asking a question. The other question for either Matt or Dean, Mr. Dill made a comment that he researched our ordinances and found where commercial vehicles can be parked. Is this different than that, or is that true, and is this different than that? Thank you. And I'll reserve the right to speak later.
Yeah.
Sure, this is different. We're looking at PD 13. And so as he was making that comment, I was looking back through PD 13, and I searched for it multiple times. I did not find a commercial vehicle language in there.
All right, so that's under the normal ordinances versus
Yes,
the PD ordinance.
right.
All right,
So
I
this
wanted
is-
to,
yes.
if Mr. Dill's still here, I wanted him to understand that.
This is
Okay.
development specific, and,
Okay.
and just to point out too, Exhibit A1, if you're looking at the very last page there, the ordinance, if this is going to be done by SUP, for example, the current exhibit identifies, 4 spaces for van parking and some for trailer parking, but it doesn't provide any spaces for the truck parking.
Right.
So that would
Okay.
be something that.
I've got trucks on
SUP
my
would-
notes. Okay, thank you.
So I guess I'm confused. Are we looking to do an SUP
No.
or an ordinance? I thought we were.
Zoning
You'd be
ordinance.
A
looking for-
zoning ordinance.
Yes, an ordinance tonight.
That's
they
a
would-
real there's a real difference.
There's a difference, yes, and there could be
Correct.
conditions on the SUP. For example, if the use was terminated,
Okay.
or abandoned, that the
Right.
SUP.
And Mayor, where my mind's going is, I'm in favor of this, but I'm in favor of this only as an SUP for Ship Shop, not just to allow anybody to open up a U-Haul place up front. But, so that's why I brought up the idea of an SUP, rather than just give it a general straight code. Okay?
Well, but using an SUP, that means if Christina's wanted to do, could come to the town and
Well,
ask for
that's
an
why,
SUP
under
as
an
well.
SUP, you could put restrictions that in this PD, it can only be used by one, okay?
Can you do that?
That's the way the ordinance is currently written. Yeah, so think of
Okay.
it kind of like a stair step, right? The one is the ordinance allowing for one of the businesses in tract 1 to obtain this SUP. That SUP is at the discretion of the council.
Okay.
All right, so that's where I'm coming from, right? And not just a general blanket, let's go. And I reserve the right to get further into it later. Thank you.
Mayor,
Hey, Luann?
if I may piggyback on that, for those that don't know the lingo, an SUP is a special use permit. It's very limited in its design and scope. And I would much rather, if we were to consider some kind of change, because right now, under our PD, which is a plan development, our ordinance does not allow for this use. It's been a non-conforming use, which has been going on for quite a while, that we don't have a provision for truck storage
even if a commercial vehicle for a tradesman was authorized under the ordinance, it still isn't for storage, and that's what we have. But a SUP, a special use permit, to allow within the parameters of some restrictions. Now, the bulk of what I'm hearing is not ship shape or that being a problem. It's the visual look at the vehicles, 3, 4, 6, whatever we're dealing with, on the property. And it was Larry Hoover who said earlier, he said, my impression was he wasn't really for it, but if we were for it, to designate the parking spots on the west side of the strip center where they're not as noticeable. My question is, can you designate parking spots on which is probably a mutual parking agreement by all the tenants? Can you go in and designate? I didn't look at your lease. I don't know if your landlord can designate you certain spots. But if there were any type of wiggle room, I would see it as a special use permit, not going in and rechanging a planned development ordinance on a commercial property, but to give a special use within the parameters of items like we were talking about. Get those vehicles where they're not visible or as easily visible. So those are the type of requirements we can add. Dean, would that be something that the landlord could designate spots?
I think he has a certain number of spots that are allocated to his business, right, Matt? 165 right now that are 160. Yes, 165 total. So I think there's some shared allocation right now.
It's shared for the entire tract.
So,
Can he designate?
I think that's a good point. I think that you would probably need the landlord to help us identify where those could go.
Right. It's not just, this is where I choose within all of these spaces, because there could be a challenge to that if they're not designated. And what I'm hearing is the objection is we don't want to look at it, not that the business is, this isn't drugs. These are vehicles, and we just don't want to look at them is what I'm hearing. I'll pass to the next one, reserve right to come back.
Excuse me, following up on Luann, wasn't certain spots already designated or outlined to be used?
In his application, he did designate.
And his landlord saw the application?
That's correct.
So there are specific spots to be identified.
But
If
there is no
that's-
parking agreement for designated spots. If you're going to do this by an SUP, Dean, would we not need designated spots and a parking agreement from the landlord and the tenant?
I think it would be very helpful in the record to have some designated spots, but no, I don't think it would be required by the SUP unless y'all wanted it to be.
I just wouldn't want him to renege later if he got a new tenant on that west side that wanted the spots.
Sure. Yeah, I think ultimately that would be a dispute between them and the landlord, hopefully. I mean, again, looking at Exhibit A1 here, it identifies trailer parking and van parking, but it doesn't identify truck parking anywhere.
Okay, Jeff wanted to say something, I think. Did you?
No.
Oh,
You can go ahead.
no? Then Roland?
I have a few things. I had a couple questions for you, Matt, if you don't mind, sir. So just to clarify, so what was the date that, so Mr. Sanders said he started operating in 2023. At what time? What month of that?
November.
November of 23 through May of 24? And then you guys, so did the U-Haul business stop operating in May of 24, or has it continued?
It's continued.
Okay. So from November 23 to May of 24 is 9 months, 8 months? Okay. So the reason I wanted to ask you about this is I'm a lot like some of the other folks here. Never saw a U-Haul. My question here, I'm in 7-Eleven all the time. I didn't notice the U-Haul. Yeah, yes, ma'am, what you were just saying. But that's me. Y'all will find that I'm kind of oblivious to a lot of stuff. So, the reason I ask is that that's kind of a good story for everybody who came to talk tonight about the reality of enforcement of code of ordinances across the board. And we talk about this as a body all the time, is that how do we make the reality of you can't be everywhere all the time match with trying to balance the needs of the residents and the business operators and everybody else. So my question then is and this is not so much, but if it's hard enough to know, if you know unequivocally black or white, there shouldn't be truck rental there and it takes 8 months to notice it, how could we possibly enforce 11 caveats?
I know.
And Mr. Sanders was just reading them tonight for the first time, it looked like. Now, I'm not saying, and I know, Matt, you've set this up not as this is the 11 conditions, but these are the questions we should ask ourselves, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I just wanted to throw that out there for y'all as we think about what it might look like in a future state, which is that it's got to be something that's rational and easy to enforce. One thing I do want to make super clear is that what we're talking about is a land use question. And when we talk about allowed uses in a plan development or in any type of zoning district, an allowed use is specific to the type of business that operates. So it's not so much that there's a particular type of vehicle there as it is what is the operation of what it is. And if you look in all of our PDs, in our PD zoning documents, you'll see it has different business categories, different business types, restaurant, retail, and so on and so forth. So what this is, the question we are asking ourselves, and the question our gentlemen on P&Z asked themselves that are here tonight a couple weeks ago, is this the right use for that land right there as we have it in Trophy Club? It is. We are not voting on whether or not the ship shop will stay in business, okay? We have a ton of customers who came and sang the praises of the business, and none of them said they'd rented a U-Haul from there. So we know it's been here. It's provided a tremendous service. The feedback I've heard from all of y'all that have worked with Mr. Sanders and used his business is commensurate with what I've heard from my wife when she's coming in and out of there, which is nice guy, great prices, easy to use, great little business to have. So I want to make super clear that for me, I do not believe that if we don't approve a U-Haul business, that it's going to send it out of business. Now, Mr. Sanders has his opinion. It's his business. But it's been here for a while, and I hope it's here for a long time, no matter what the decision is. One thing I want to point out is that, like I said, I never noticed it, so I almost kind of wish it was just out of sight, out of mind, and we didn't all have to talk about it for hours on end, honestly. I don't think it negatively or unnegatively or positively impacts, our livelihoods one way or the other, except for Mr. Sanders himself trying to make money. However, now it's before us, so we have to make the decision based on what the optimal land use is for that location. And we have, as a body, discussed, along with our Economic Development Corporation, the use of grants to do things like improve the look and the feel of that very location. So I disagreed with those grants, by the way. But if we're for throwing money at private businesses to make them look prettier, how can we also be for U-Hauls? Now, I will say, I don't necessarily think the U-Hauls look ugly. My concern is not how they look. My more concern is that the best way to use the land, retail frontage in Trophy Club, what limited we do have? And that's it. That's all I had. That's just my thoughts. Now, in terms of my personal feeling on the matter, I'm reticent to move forward just because we do have limited frontage. We do have limited retail space. And in my experience, that one out there in Roanoke, 3.1 miles away, that's hard to get to. That's the one I always used in the past. It's a big old gravel lot, industrial park. Every time I've rented a truck, that's where I've ended up, next to some railroad tracks, next to a warehouse, in a big gravel lot somewhere, not in a retail strip center on frontage that, to be honest, is prime frontage with Westlake's deep pockets right across the street. So I think we just need to ask ourselves, is that the right location for that type of operation? And that's all I have right now. Sorry to talk so long.
Well, you went over 3 minutes.
I know, y'all should. Y'all got to start using it on me.
I got to tell you, first of all, thank you all for coming out. I mean, obviously this is a very passionate subject, to say the least. But I got to say, I'm so impressed with the business owners who came out to speak to this issue as a business owner. We have our own little tunnel vision sometimes, whether you're a council member or a resident. But these are business owners. These are people that run their business every day. Christina's was here. I personally talked to Vinny about it, who was supportive. So I'm impressed by that. So thank you for coming out and lending that lens, if you will. I think there's a lot to go on. I'm not 100% sure how we move forward. I think with enough discussion, continued discussion, there's a way to yes. You know how I am. Let's find a way to get to yes. One thing that Chairman Biggs, I don't know if he's still here, that you said, there he is. You made a comment that said you were for it, the discussion came up before P&Z, and there wasn't a whole lot, what I wrote down, not much time to talk about it, and it kind of moved on, which is a little concerning a little bit, because this is such an issue. Look what we've spent an hour and a half talking about. So I'm not sure, Brandon, Dean, how we move forward, what the next step is. Maybe postponing the discussion is the way to go here so that we can get some of these questions answered. But I'll throw that open to anybody else.
What questions?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. That my head went.
Well, I mean, there's questions about spots and that the 11 points here. I mean,
You mean if you did an SUP?
yeah, I just want to be clear about what it is we are approving or not approving.
One of the things I noticed at the P&Z was the packet that identified some of the things from Mr. Sanders was handed out at the dais. And I think that's what Mike Biggs was talking about, is you don't have time to look at it, discuss it, figure out what it says at that time. The council had a chance, it was sent to council before the meeting, so the council had a chance to look at it where the P&Z didn't. So a lot of the stuff wasn't discussed because they were, didn't have time to really look at it where we did. I think we should move forward. I would like to move forward on a positive basis for it. I have some, and I'll bring it up now if you don't mind, Mayor. I have some really difficult, David, you had said during the P&Z, correct me if I'm wrong, that you've never had a 26-foot truck, but you've had some of the 15s and 20s come through.
Come on up, David. Yeah, thanks.
Let me correct you on that. I had one 26-foot came in on a drop-off. In other words, on a drop-off, someone came by, dropped it off. It went out again the very next day. There is a 20-foot sitting there right now. I think that's the one that the gentleman who was up here alluding to, is sitting there when he came into Christina's. It's going out tomorrow morning. It came in a day ago, a drop-off. Someone dropped it off. I am not scheduled. U-Haul will not give me anything larger than a 15-foot. They literally will not give me one. If one comes in, it's something that someone drives by and drops off. And those things are not scheduled for me to get at all. U-Haul will not give me one because of the lot size. They will not give me one. So if I get one, it's because someone dropped it off. And when they drop it off, it's interesting. It goes into the U-Haul system, and those things go out almost immediately. This one actually was scheduled to go out, but the snowstorm came in, and the people that had it rented canceled their rental.
Yeah, the reason I'm bringing that up is that 26. I have a problem with the big trucks.
Right.
Okay, a 26-foot U-Haul is really 34 feet long, and there's no parking spot or any area in that parking lot that accommodates that on a regular basis, or I'm not talking about a box van delivering material or something.
Correct.
So I have a problem with the size of the trucks. Okay, the a regular parking spot is what, 18 and a half long, 9.5 wide. And anything over a 10-footer would not fit in one. A 10-footer will. And the van, and a cargo van will. So my mind is on what you've been doing on the trailers, that's fine. The van is, fits in the parking spot, and that's fine too. A 10-footer fits in there. But when you get up into the 26-footer, I have a problem with that.
Yeah, see, I don't get the large ones. I don't get any of the car haulers because they're way too long. They stick out.
Yeah.
I don't get the two-wheel car haulers, the regular car haulers. I don't get the open trailers. Those are the things that U-Haul will not give me.
Yeah.
At all. That's between me and the field manager. We decided that I just don't get those.
So I'm for you up until the 15-footer. Anything over that, I don't think fits the parking lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was going to talk about the first thing we need to do. Number one is set the definition. In the definition, can you put the words by SUP only in that definition? And why is 26-foot, what's the magic of having the 26-foot in that definition? Can it be?
That's the maximum size right now in the definition, so.
That's correct, and because that was off of what was in our packet. So that could be set to a 15-foot.
Yeah, so there's, if you look at kind of the matrix there, that sheet, 10, 15, 20, and 26 is what would be authorized.
Right. So, I mean, I could go up to that size and be fine with it. Anything over that, I'd have to really figure out how you're going to handle it on a regular basis. So that's the definition. So the first thing we do is put a definition in there. And you can put by SUP only in there. The other is if I wanted to limit this to one business at a time, where would I put that? In the balance of the ordinance, of the PD, or would it go in the definition?
You would put it in the definition and limit it to tract 1.
All right, limit to all right.
Which, if you look at section 2, the last box, there, a maximum of one business on tract 1 shall be permitted as an accessory use.
Right.
That's where kind of that intent is right there.
Okay, but all right, so that's not part of the definition, that's part of the ordinance later. That's what I'm trying to get to.
It is part of the regulation.
Yeah, so the ordinance is a sub-paragraph of the definition. So if you're looking at 2A, the following accessory use shall apply to tract 1 when authorized by SUP only, and is cumulative of all general regulations herein. And then you look down at paragraph 1 there, Roman numeral 1.
So you're over on page 93. Okay, I was on a different page. Okay. Understand. Okay.
Okay, I just have a comment, and mine is the real objection is the visual. Isn't that correct? I mean, the real objection is the visual of U-Hauls. So I don't care if you did an SUP, an ordinance, or whatever, if the visual is still there, the objection of that is still there. You understand what I'm saying? And wait before I go
Well, and
on.
I would add also the land use question is really more my objection than
that.
visual.
But also the unclear use of the land with the numbers of vehicles or what kind of vehicles are coming in, when they're coming in, how they're coming in, and so forth. That's real unclear. So that's one, and the objection of that. And then the question is, and that, by the way, the objection of the visual is honestly for a few. Really. Really. So my question then is, does the service, the revenue, the business, offering our residents this opportunity trump the visual? I mean, do we get more value?
But that question assumes that 8 months of operating, or well, I guess it's more like 14 months now of operating the U-Haul makes it now necessary revenue over something that operated for several years prior, which none of us can answer that question honestly, and I don't think it's appropriate for us to just assume that that's a fact in making our decision.
No.
Because I saw that the business has been there for a very long time.
Yes.
And all of his customers weren't using him for U-Hauls. I mean, I just heard the best commercial for Ship Shop anyone could ever hear for the last hour, and nobody said, I need a U-Haul.
You know, that.
For how long?
And that's true.
Many
And I-
people said it, and you said it yourself. You didn't know they were there.
Well, that too.
So,
Now we have
you
to
know,
decide.
but how could that affect the visual effect if there's a number of people? Now, granted, there are people that object to it, and they, rightfully so, they have that right, okay? But there's also people that for it. So we have you could say we have a split vote. But Mr. Sanders has presented a petition that had 148 signatures on it. We've had multiple people tonight speak, you know, in favor of it.
And he did say that 578 transactions for U-Hauls in that period of time. Well, that's a lot of,
So
a lot of turnover.
So on the land use, the objections would be the visual and any effect on the property values in Trophy Club. I disagree with that because I don't think there is any effect on the property values. And also there's so much up there that no one even know it was there.
Yeah, I do agree. I will say I typically don't buy into the property value argument, never have. But I also know this, if we were all considering a planned development, brand new, with frontage property, not a one of us would allow truck rental in that a list of allowed uses. We absolutely would not. We talk about strategy and we talk about vision. If we were planning this, if we were looking at this from scratch, we wouldn't say have a truck rental business operating on our 114 frontage road. And we have a planned development with the zoning that actually prohibits just that. I believe the current land use is proper for the way we want to develop the economic activity of Trophy Club.
Yes, and I also agree that even when we did this Thrive program, the Grave developers who own that, I would like to have seen them do some beautification to the environment, to open it up, to be more inviting. And that is still an opportunity. But again, if we go and have the U-Hauls out there, that's going to change that potential opportunity as well. And at the same,
But you are a strip center. And that's what it is.
And that's what it is. And it will become.
And the
a
Thrive
strip
program
center.
was not
That's
meant to
correct.
change the value or look of
That's, yeah.
what it is.
It is a strip center, yeah.
And whether we like it or not. And as far as if you want to go to the land use, okay, I understand what you're saying about the land use. I disagree with you.
Yeah,
Okay.
fair.
Yep.
And
I have a couple
Jeff.
questions for David.
Yes, sir.
So you stated that you can't get access to the big trucks, but this 29-footer was dropped off.
20-footer, yes.
20-footer. I thought that there was another one that was referenced. A 26?
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's no control. That's the problem.
Well, is there control or not? Okay. You say U-Haul will not let you get a large.
In other words, I cannot order a 20-footer. In other words, if you're a customer and you come in and you want a 20-foot truck to load your stuff here in Trophy Club and take it to Virginia, I can go in and reserve you one to be picked up at the U-Haul up on 114 on the hill. I cannot get that 20-foot truck here in Trophy Club for you. I can reserve it at another location, but they will not deliver it to me.
Why were they able to drop off a
Because the customer just simply drove into my lot and dropped it off.
There's no control on a drop-off.
So U-Haul does not give them the potential drop-off
No,
locations that would exclude you from that?
No, what happens is the customer had a location he was supposed to drop that truck off at. He decided on his own volition to drop it off at my place at severe penalty. In other words, when you drop off doesn't matter if it's a truck, trailer, whatever, when you rent that, you're given a location you're supposed to drop it off at. If you drop it off at some other location, you have to pay an extreme penalty, just like if you rent a rental car. And if you rent that on a round trip or whatever, and you decide to leave it where you're going, you pay an extreme penalty to leave it there. Same thing happens with U-Haul. If you rent a U-Haul and you take that U-Haul and you're supposed to drop it off at point A and you're going to point B, and you're supposed to drop it off at point B, but instead you drop it off at point C, you can drop it off there, but you're going to pay a very high penalty. And in some cases, it could be the same price as your rental. We had a person that did that on a truck, and his rental was like $1,000, and he dropped his truck off at a different location, and his penalty was $1,000. So if they want to do that, it's very expensive. I don't know what this guy's penalty, I don't see that. It's all done internally, but he dropped it off with me, and they choose to do that. It was a Trophy Club resident that dropped it off. He chose to drop it off with me versus big truck. He didn't want to climb. It was probably supposed to go out there on 114. He probably didn't want to, he either didn't want to manage through the construction or for whatever his reason. I don't know what it was. It was just there in the morning when I got to the store.
Out of your control, understood. So out on 114, where the big truck is up there, you can schedule pickups.
I can schedule something out to that store, yes.
Does U-Haul do a drop-off to another location, or is it everybody has to go and get it?
No, they'll do, U-Haul drops off to other locations, yes.
So conceivably, you could house these vehicles at 114 and order them up and bring them in.
No, I cannot do that. I cannot house it at another dealer.
But you can schedule a truck.
I can schedule something at another store,
Or
yes.
drop off. So why could they not drop it off at your business? for the
Because
customers coming in?
each one is independently owned. I cannot
So
put
it's not-
vehicle.
That's not a central, for lack of another word, a corporate store then?
No, the corporate store is in Grapevine. That's a corporate store, but that's still owned by an individual. But I can't put vehicles on another lot and have them, because my field manager has to go pick up vehicles and bring them to me. I can't go get them. It's called a transfer in. He has to bring them over to me.
Okay, so what I'm driving at is you would only need temporary parking if you were to schedule from another store or location and bring it in, and it wouldn't have to be housed in this parking lot. You can
Okay, so I
schedule it
understand.
to be delivered here for the customer to pick up.
So how do I handle if Mr. Flynn comes in this morning and he wants a van right now?
You can say, I can rent you a van, but you'll have to go down and pick it up, or you'll have to
It,
wait until it can be dropped off.
it doesn't work that way. I'm sorry, Mr. Beach, it does not work that way, because if you go to the other store to get it, that other store is going to want half of the commission.
The 3 times I've rented, I've called ahead. It was at least a day ahead, a day of lead time. I mean, how many people really rent U-Hauls? I think Jeff's point, Mr. Sanders, is that you'd be able to have it there ready for someone without it being there all the time, because you've got reservations and you know when they are, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have people just walk in like off the street. Oh,
Yeah,
U-Haul.
I do have people that
Yeah,
walk in.
that's not a lot. I mean, what are we doing here? We're talking way too deep in the weeds about the operation of the business.
I think so too. I think
There's
we,
alternatives
We
to
need-
operating the business without housing the vehicles physically in that location. Is that a fair statement?
Well, I understand what you're getting at, and it can't be done that way. I mean, we talked at the P&Z meeting about housing the vehicles on the mud lot, and that can't be done. I'm there alone from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock every day. If I have someone come in that wants a vehicle at 8 o'clock in the morning, how do I go to the mud lot to get the vehicle? Do I close the store and lock it up while I go get the vehicle?
I don't understand. That would be a logistical thing on your part. If you wanted to continue the business without us doing a single thing, you could still perpetuate this business without us.
You are correct, Mr. Beach. You don't understand. You are
Jeff,
correct.
Jeff, let's redirect our discussion, please. Are there any other comments, questions regarding this before we do something around a motion?
I'd like to make a motion when you're ready for somebody to make a motion.
Excuse me, Mayor. Did
Yes.
you want to open up again for?
Oh, yes. Are there other we will open it up again, 3 minutes to speak, if you would like to speak again regarding this issue. Anybody else? You want to speak?
I'd like to address one more thing that Ms. Kiefer addressed on, she talked about the thing that I discussed in 2013 about the development that they were going to build. They were going to build, and she didn't get into it, and I would have thought that she would have did her homework a little better, but they were going to put a gas station in the front of our entrance, which is designated wetlands, which has fish in it and birds in it and everything else. So they were going to put a gas station there. And I did not feel that the environmental hazards that a gas station should be in the entrance where it's all designated wetlands. Now, since then, they've built a mega church, which is a 4,000-member mega church, and 2 strip malls on each side of the entrance. I did not argue with those. I could care less about the mega church and 2 strip malls because they're not environmental hazards. But the gas station was. A tank bursts open and you got gas spills into a wetlands, you got a lot of dead fish, you got a lot of dead birds. If she would have done her homework, she would have found out that's what it was about. But obviously, she
Okay.
didn't.
Thank you.
Are you going to make a motion, Dennis?
Yep.
You're going to do it? Okay.
There's.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
Thank
please.
you.
One thing I want to add, I have used like U-Haul, not his because I haven't have yet the need to move, but I do have the need to move later on. Anyways, I have used U-Haul in at least in Florida. There's different types of U-Haul, and since they are a franchise, some operate in a street mall. And they have 1, 2, 3 vans or something like that. And you can go there. It's not like when you think about U-Haul, you think about this big storage with all the trucks and all the stuff. But, there's small franchises that operate in a street mall. And it's just 1, 2, 3 vans and you go there. And sometimes if there's the van available or the vehicle available, you can just go there and rent it. And that's what I have done before. I don't tend to go to the big stores. If there's something near, I use it. If not, I don't use it. So I don't understand what is the issue with the zoning, but it's something that you guys are going to figure it out because I have seen it before that that there's a person with a U-Haul and they offer the boxes and stuff, a very small store, and they have some vans stored at the strip mall.
Okay.
So it's something that exists, already exists. It's not new.
Okay, thank you.
That's all. Thank you.
That helps clarify. Thank you. Now,
I have one more question for Dean or Matt. And that is define in transit. In other words, I've already stated I have objection to a 34-foot length vehicle. So in order to understand what David was talking about somebody not on his basis, but somebody just dropped off a truck. How do you define in transit?
In transit was vehicles that he's got the truck, the van, and the trailer, those 3 assigned. So in transit is anything else above those 3.
David, do you have any control over in transit, meaning somebody dropping something off?
At P and Z, that's what I was going to.
Well,
You have the ability to say yes or no.
What happens basically on an in-transit, I will get notification on my screen that says I have another 6 by 12 coming in, or I'll have let's say when the college students start coming back, my field manager will drop me off a couple of 4x8s because 5x8s because he'll know that I'll need some 5x8s to bring college students back to Trophy Club. But as far as the bigger trucks, I'll get a notification that there's a big truck coming in. I can send that notification back to U-Haul saying I don't have space. Okay? Those I can do, I can reject.
So you understand where I'm coming from on the bigger trucks?
Yes, I can send it. If I see a notification for a 20 or a 26 that says it's coming in,
Yeah.
I can send a notification back to U-Haul saying, don't drop it here.
Got it. Okay, thank you. That just gets my words, I want
So
to
you
make sure my
have more
words are right.
control on this than what
If
we're
I
hearing.
get notification that it's coming in, I can send a note back
Yeah.
to U-Haul, don't drop it.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, thank you, Dave. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. Follow me. For council, I'm on page 91 of 555. This is the town ordinance, is what I'm using. I'm making a motion that we approve the ordinance as written with the following changes. On page 92, where it talks about the definition of a truck, cargo van, and trailer rental, that the 26 be changed to 10. On the next page, on 93, under trucks, the second line, delete 20, delete 26. And that, I apologize, on page 92, under the definition, add by SUP only. So it's basically SUP only, 10-foot truck, a 15-foot's allowed in transit, and that if Dave Sanders wants to come back and apply for an SUP, that the fee be waived. That's my motion.
I'll second.
Well, before you do that, we have a recommendation for denial. So.
From P&Z.
From the
Oh, okay.
P&Z,
Yeah.
from the P&Z. So the motion just needs to be, if you're recommending overturning if you're
Okay.
moving to overturn the
I'm
recommendation.
moving to overturn the recommendation from P&Z. Does that,
Yes.
With the following conditions.
with the following conditions? Is that clear to the council?
Okay, now in approving this and voting yes, then we go forward with David's business. With these corrections.
Subject,
The way I'm
which would also be
understanding
subject to an
is-
SUP, because he's.
If we
subject to the
approve
SUP.
this
Oh, got it.
tonight,
Okay,
he
okay.
can continue operating his business, assuming he comes back and applies for an SUP.
And then we would
And then
still
he's,
have to approve an SUP.
unfortunately, David, you got to go through the process again. Sorry about that.
And we could still, at that time, object to the SUP.
Yes.
That's right.
Absolutely. You have the full discretion on the SUP.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Got it.
unfortunately, he's got
Got
to go
it.
back through it again. Yep.
Yep.
So the changes I have, maximum size is, instead of 26, it's 10. Added to that same definition by SUP only.
Yep.
The 20 and 26 are deleted. So in transit would allow 15 but not 10.
Well, he's got 10 as allowed.
10 is allowed. Oh, excuse me, yes, 10 is allowed but not 15. Or 15 in
15 is
transit.
allowed.
Yeah.
In
Okay.
transit, yeah.
And then, when you look at that, so if I can add one more thing, front row parking along SH 114 as illustrated in Exhibit A, if we could change that to as approved by SUP.
Yes.
And that way.
Got it.
and
Okay,
delete
understand.
Exhibit A.
Yeah.
Or delete Exhibit 1A-1.
Okay.
And then also adding in that, with the condition that, that SUP fees be waived for Mr. Sanders if he were to apply.
Okay, so with this motion, it then puts it back in the hands of David to determine if he wants to come back for an SUP. Is that clear?
That's right.
And this does not, again, deal with a big objection, and that's visual. So
And just to remind the council.
it will come back.
Yeah, so you need a 3/4 majority.
Yes.
Vote.
And
To
since
approve
this
this.
is, since 7 isn't divisible by 4, tell us how many people that would
need
take.
six.
Well, I thought it was only 5.25.
You need 6.
It is 5.2.
And so,
A quarter of it.
and so in this vote, if we approve it with a supermajority, it goes on to do the SUP.
You have, no, you
I mean,
have then amended the ordinance, and it's up to the applicant.
That's what I mean.
To apply for
Yes.
SUP.
That's right.
There is mud.
So we have a motion and a
Okay,
second
the
on floor.
motion, do we need to read this motion again, or y'all clear? Everybody?
Maybe we could, yeah.
Y'all need to read it again,
No,
please?
I think we're.
We're
Is
good?
everyone clear? Does
Okay.
anyone want it read again? How about let's do it like that. Does anyone want it read again?
Let's
No?
read it one more time for everyone, please.
Do you
Go
want me to
for
do
it.
Okay. So.
Now we're going to see how good you really are.
I know. I was going to have Dean do it. So the motion is to overturn the recommendation from P and Z and to approve the ordinance for case, where was that number? PD AMD 24-004, the amendment to PD 13, with the following changes. One is that in the definition section, that the maximum size of trucks would be changed to 10-foot trucks. And as well as in the definition section that you would be adding that this use could be allowed by SUP only. In the chart there where the size of trucks are delineated, you would be removing the sizes of 20 foot and 26 feet, leaving 10 feet and 15 feet. In the section for location of truck, cargo van, and cargo trailer vehicle parking, you would eliminate the reference to Exhibit 8.1 as being where it is that parking is allowed, and you would have that, the parking to be determined in the SUP process for that. And you would include in there that the staff is directed to waive fees for Mr. Sanders in the SUP process. That would
Very
be everything.
good.
Good job.
Yay. Okay, I'm going to, what? Yes, Mike.
I want to clarify one thing. This will go back to, if he does apply for the SUP, if you do approve this tonight, it will go back to us.
P&Z.
Yes.
And then back to you again. That's our recommendation.
Yes.
Correct, all SUPs
I love
pass
it.
through
I love
the
it.
The whole
P&Z.
process
Yeah.
again.
I love it.
Sure, everyone understood that.
Yeah.
Yes, Mike. We have you for a reason. Okay, we are going to now, I'm going to call for a vote. All of those in favor of that motion, raise your hand. Okay, we need a supermajority, correct?
That's right.
It did not pass. No, all those,
Call for again.
all those not in favor, raise your hand. Okay, it did not pass. Therefore, it is.
How does, just a point of clarification, how does the rounding work on to Ryland's point or somebody's point, right? So supermajority, what's 75%? 75% of 7 is 5.25, my Ohio State math.
So
How does that,
requires
how do,
six.
How does that equate?
Requires 6.
It
Requires
requires,
six.
it's a
You have to beat
supermajority.
75%.
Yeah,
That's right.
70,
That's right.
So
okay.
what happens now?
Well,
Moving on to item number 13.
So this, a failed motion to overturn is essentially
It's
a
denial.
denial. Exactly.
so we,
And the
Yeah.
case is now resolved.
okay, we will go to the next agenda item, please. Number 13. This again is a public hearing So the same process applies. I will not read it again, but I'm getting ready to call it 9:14, and we're going into a public hearing, please. We could have waited. You want to wait? Matt, this is you.
Again?
The Highlands.
I thought it was me. Take a beer break.
Wow, that's too bad.
Tammy reading?
Did you want me to read that?
Yeah, yes, thank you. I'll
Case
wait,
RP 24-001, the Highlands at Trophy Club, Neighborhood 5, Phase 2B, Lot 23R, Block G, Gardner replat. Conduct a public hearing to consider a replat request made by Derek Gardner on Lot 23R, Block G of the Highlands at Trophy Club, Neighborhood 5, Phase 2B, approximately .292 acres of land for the addition of unplatted land. The property is addressed as 2643 Highlands Court and is situated in the Rosalinda Allen Survey, abstract number 17, Town of Trophy Club, Denton, Texas.
Okay, I already called for public hearing. You want me to do it again?
Go ahead and open the public hearing.
Okay, it's 9:15 for open for public hearing, please. Thank you, Matt.
All right, good evening. The applicant, Mr. Gardner, if y'all recall, the town sold land to him back in April 2024, and part of that requirements was to replat. Local government code requires property that's 5 acres or under to be platted to transfer ownership. Of course, he can't build anything or do anything on that until those are replatted. That was also just part of the deal on the sale. He is not here this evening, I think. But staff recommends to conduct a public hearing, move to approve to the plat or the replat with a few conditions. So we've Eagle Surveying has not been real prompt at coming back and fixing these things for us. Probably Christmas and New Year's and snow or whatever, but we still have not. These are the same comments we sent to them right after P&Z. So they just have not addressed these. So we've got those redlined. Of course, we need signatures, certified tax certificate prior to filing, and then also Councilman Olden, we added, I sent them an email just to add that language on there about being also the owner of. We don't have the response. But with those conditions, we do recommend approval, and we'll get those things done prior to filing.
Okay.
And I'm here if you got any questions.
Is there anyone in public who would like to speak to this? All right, then I am going to 9:17 close the hearing and discussion open to the council, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the replat request by Derek Gardner on Lot 23R, Block G of the Highlands at Trophy Club, Neighborhood 5, Phase 2B, approximately 0.292 acres of land for the addition of unplatted land.
Second. There's a second by Stacy. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, motion passes. Yes. We'll go to number.
Tell Mr. Gardner we're sorry it took so long. We did his neighbors in 2018, the one right next to it.
The first time he reached out to me was November of 21.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So we got it done.
Item 14, conduct a public hearing and consider an ordinance amending Article 1.08.001 of Chapter 1, Article 1.8, Parks and Recreation, and adopting the 2025 Youth Program Standard of Care.
Opening for a public hearing at 9:18, please. Thank you, Chase.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is our annual coming before you to adopt our standards of care as part of the Texas Family and Protection Services for the Children for our summer camp that we operate here in Trophy Club. It is very close to what you had adopted last year on an annual basis, but the one change that I wanted to bring forth with tremendous help from our city secretary and town attorney is taking the manual, actually taking the standards out of the ordinance and putting it as an exhibit as a manual. And what this does is during the year, as last year, you remember we moved the operations from the school to the activity center, and we were changing around some of the job descriptions and the duties of those individuals. This will allow us a little more leniency as those changes occur without having to come back and change the ordinance. Annually, we'll be coming back just like we are now to adopt it, because that is a requirement by the state of Texas, that we adhere to these standards in order to be exempt and let the public know that we're not operating as a licensed daycare, but that we are providing a summer camp to the citizens of Trophy Club. And so with that, our recommendation is that the town council conduct this public hearing and then move to approve the ordinance of Article 1.08.001 of Chapter 1, Article 1.08 Parks and Recreation, and adopting the 2025 Youth Program Standard of Care.
Okay. Anyone would like to speak for the parks? Anybody? Okay, I'm going to close the hearing at 9:20. And do we have a motion or discussion? Yes.
I'll make a motion. I move to approve the ordinance, Article 1.08.001, Chapter 1, Article 1.08, Parks and Rec, and adopting 2025 Youth Programs Standard of Care.
Second.
Jeff seconds that. Are all those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chase.
Item 15, conduct a public hearing and consider an ordinance granting a franchise agreement to Community Waste Disposal for solid waste and recycling collection, authorizing the town manager to negotiate and execute the franchise agreement, and directing staff to prepare an ordinance to make necessary updates to Article 13.02, solid waste of the town's code of ordinances.
It's 9:20, that was loud. 9:21, we were going to a public hearing. Thank you, Tamara.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight I'll be going over the Trophy Club's upcoming changes to the solid waste and recycling services, which include the selection of a new service provider, Community Waste Disposal. The Town of Trophy Club's current contract with solid waste and recyclable materials collection was executed August 11th of 2020 and will expire May 31st of 2025. The town charter, specifically Section 10.03, grants the town council the authority to enter into a franchise agreement by ordinance after the public hearing. So that's what we're doing here this evening. The item is also asking to authorize the town manager to execute the franchise agreement after negotiations are completed. On August 26th of 2024, the town council held a work session focused on solid waste and recycle management. The goal there was to put the solid waste and recycling management out for bid in the fall. Key topics of the session were the bulk pickup items, bundled or unbundled, recycling bin sizes, 18 gallons versus the 95-gallon carts, household hazardous waste collection methods, on-demand versus the annual events, and optional recycling programs. In October, bids were solicited with a proposal deadline of November 14th. Bidders had the flexibility to propose current service levels, or alternatives were provided. The town received 5 bids, and a team composed of the Parks Department, Community Development, and Town Manager's Office conducted an in-depth review. While many companies submitted bids, not all of the companies submitted our current service level bids. 2 low-cost options proposed reduced the collection frequency to once per week, but after review, this was determined not to be valuable due to minimal savings and decreased service levels. After careful review, the team determined Community Waste Development provided the most competitive pricing and met the needs of the town. CWD brings 40 years of experience and is the largest independently owned solid waste and recycling company in North Texas. The new contract will mirror what we currently have. Our base services levels are on the screen for you. Residentials will still be the twice weekly trash pickup using customer-owned containers or bags. The weekly recycling is still going to use the 18 gallons, but have an option for a 95-gallon cart. Bundle brush pickup and weekly brush materials will be the same at the 4 cubic yards. A new monthly service for household hazardous waste will be added as a doorside pickup. Curbside Christmas tree recycling program will be added, and the seasonal leaf recycling program. That will allow unlimited bags of leaves during a 3-week period for the spring and fall season. Key modifications to the service include collection zone splits. The town will be divided into 2 collection zones for more efficiency. One zone will be serviced on Monday, Thursdays. The other one will be Tuesday, Friday. Bulk waste, so the first 4 cubic bulky waste will be collected at no charge. Additional bulky waste will be at a fee of $15 per cubic yard. Monthly hazardous waste pickups will replace the current annual events, and the curbside Christmas tree collection will replace the park-based drop-off containers, and the Christmas trees will be recycled. The first year's contract rate for residents will be $25.71 per month. Residents who wish to upgrade to that 95-gallon cart can do so at an additional $3.41 per month. That would bring the total to $29.12. For commercial customers, rates begin at the $35.24 per month for carts with the options of front load, containers, roll-offs, and compactors. Additional commercial rates are outlined in your packet. The contract will also include an annual adjustment based on the DFW Consumer Price Index. Our current contract uses the National Consumer Price Index with a cap at 4%. CWD did provide a Trophy Club transition timeline. Looking forward, the town's code of ordinance currently includes the article on solid waste and recycle services, which is very specific to the contract that we currently have. So staff is recommending rewriting this ordinance to be less specific of the contract that we currently have and be more general in nature. The town attorney is gathering some best practices from other municipalities to help draft that new ordinance, and a revised ordinance will be presented at a future meeting with the effective date of June 1st. With that, we do have CWD president here, Jason Ramir, as well as Wanda Smith, the municipal coordinator, when questions are available to be asked.
Okay, do we want to close it and then ask questions, or how do y'all want to do that? Is that all right?
I don't have any public speaker cards.
No speakers, but so we'll close it and then we'll talk, okay? It's 9:28, I'm closing the public hearing. So now the council gets to ask questions or talk. So would you like to come to the podium, please? And since we might be friends for a few years, come on up.
Yeah, this won't be the first meeting.
We will see you again
Based
next
on my
year.
experience.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Bring up U-Haul.
Come on up.
Got it. Thank you, Mayor, Council. Jason Raymer, President of Community Waste Disposal, and I'm joined this evening by Wanda Smith, our municipal coordinator.
Good. We're glad to have you.
We're glad to be here.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
good. So are there questions y'all would like to ask, or you want to give us any big picture overview of what's your expectation working with Trophy Club?
Yeah, no, absolutely. A little bit about the company. As Tamara said, we're the largest privately held and owned family owned and operated solid waste company in North Texas. My father started the company in 1984. We got our first, he's still part of the company. He's CEO. He comes in a few days a week, but the reins have started kind of passing along. We got our first municipal contract in 1992, the city of Euless, where we were processing the residential recycling. We still have that contract today, along with 34 other municipal contracts in the area. Our location is sitting on 23 acres. We have a single location about 21 miles from where we stand today, and we operate in about a 50-mile radius from that one location. There we run about 200 trucks. 97% of those are compressed natural gas because we have our own CNG compressed natural gas filling station on site as well. We're a certified transfer station, so we can control what landfills do to us. Though we use landfills, we don't own one. So we have the ability to bring waste to our facility, load it up in a big trailer, and drive it down to Ferris, Texas, where it's very cheap to dump. But we do utilize area landfills, but like I said, it kind of puts a ceiling on what they can charge us, because at some point we can bring it to ourselves and take it away. Same location, we have a 100,000 square foot recycling center, where we've got 2 shifts of about 45 workers that sort roughly about 300 tons an hour of recycling 6 days a week. So in a nutshell, that's CWD. And some of the finer points, what we pride ourselves on is community relationships. We're a partner in your community. They don't see CWD truck going down the street. They don't think of Greg or Jason Raymer. They think of the town of Trophy Club. They think about the services you selected to provide for your residents. So we like to partner with our communities. We're in and around our communities. We're part of chambers. We're at Breakfast with Tiffany and all those things. And Wanda will be a big part of that. We put a real personal touch to our business because we live here. We only operate here. I'm not in other cities giving the same sales pitch. So we're part of the community and we're part of the Metroplex, and we're very proud of that.
Well, we're glad you are joining us and being our partner and serving our residents. Anybody want to say something?
Just one question. You talked about kind of splitting Trophy Club in half, services a couple days a week, service, east-west, I'll call it. What's your experience? Is that a benefit? And why is it done that way?
Yeah, one is it's better utilizing our assets. Instead of having to run 6 to 9 trucks 2 days of the week, we can run 3 or 4 running across 4 days. So a Monday, Thursday section for trash, for instance, and a Tuesday, Friday allows us to have assets in your city 4 days a week. So that's better customer service. If something was missed or you needed an extra bulk pickup, we have a truck in your city 4 days a week. And those drivers are primarily only working in your city, not another location.
So if a driver missed something on the east side, the west side driver would go pick it up.
Exactly. It'll be the same drivers working Monday, Thursday as
Right.
Tuesday, Friday.
Sure.
So you have the same
But they would
crews and
still be able to pick
continuity.
them up, yeah.
Hypothetically.
That's kind of good.
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically. I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
And that is, not very many services pick up bags anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know where I'm going with
Yeah,
this?
I do.
There's going to be a day when you're not going to either. Or is that right?
I hope
Right.
not. I
Not
hope.
when I'm here.
Yeah, I think
Well,
Dennis.
I-
Not when I'm on
I
here.
think Dennis and I are going to make sure we're going to work together, Jason, to
Thank
make
you, Wanda,
sure.
for picking up my black bag.
I'm only throwing it out there because because I do know that Colleyville, and because I'm behind CWD, trucks going over there, they're picking up sacks. And so a lot of towns, there are still towns wanting sacks picked up.
Absolutely.
And so you're going to hang in there over the years to come.
Myself and my dad, I usually call him Greg, but 200, 300 years ago, the first garbage truck was a rear load truck. This guy on the back, traditional, some form or fashion. In 100, 200 years from now, there's still going to be that service. Okay. It's simply needed in some areas of the country. It's not accessible to have an automated truck.
Particularly when you have a town who resists change.
And we're in the service providing industry, so it is my job to provide a service that my customers want.
I am you.
I'll invite all y'all to come see my impeccably organized garage and tell me where you'll put that 96-gallon bin.
And so we operate plenty automated collections. About half of our residential collections are with the automated joystick claw grabbing the cart. And about the other half are the manual traditional rear load trash. So we have no plans to change that model.
I just had to ask that because
We're all veterans of this cycle.
Yes.
We've all been
Yes.
through it a few times, and that's what I was going to praise y'all on is the level of flexibility and the fact that you have competitive bids in for maintaining 2-day-a-week pickups, because I think ultimately our goal for everybody, changing the day you pick up is fine, I guess, because some people are going to need to change, but We don't want to have to.
Are you having a chance?
Maybe me one day, but we don't have. You don't want to have to make people think about it, right? We want it to be out of sight, out of mind, much like you said, just something that just works, frictionless. And so the flexibility in the offerings that you guys had in your bid is obviously why you're standing here today. So I appreciate that you guys have that.
Absolutely.
I have a comment. Actually, I have two. So you said community relations was one of your pride things, so we can expect to see you at our Touch a Truck event?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect, that's already, okay. Second, how do you handle communication with your residents when we have holiday issues, when we have storm issues? What is your protocol for communications, and how do you handle that?
Yeah, there's a couple ways it can be done. I'll talk to the first, with holidays and reminders, if you will, if service changes or anything that's being selected in this contract. We have an on-staff graphic designer, Meredith. She's wonderful. She puts together great brochures that we'll affix to the bins when we deliver those to each resident. We put together all sorts of graphics that can be put on the city's website. Well, the city will have, or the town, excuse me, will have a tab on our website as well, having all of the different services offered to your residents. Residents and staff can also sign up for our spotlight and weather alerts on our website. So fresh on everyone's mind is what happens when snow falls in Texas, and it's becoming a regular annual exercise on our end. And so by signing up for those spotlights and alerts, we can actually push notifications to the residents that sign up for that, keeping them up to date as well as town staff on what's going on. One of the great things is you will all have my business card by the end of the night. And just like when the May storm, this windstorm of last year hit, and I was getting phone calls at 6 a.m., what are you doing? There's trees laying in the middle of our street. You know who to call. And that person's not changing. Wanda will hopefully be here for a very long time, but I assure you that I'm not going anywhere. Got a 2-year-old, and I've got a lot of drive and energy. So you'll always have my phone number, my cell number, and if you need to get an answer, you can get one. And you can get it from somebody that can actually move the assets to make it happen. So hopefully that answered it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Jeff? You were getting ready to-
Question. You said the carts, you're talking about the recycling carts.
We did offer an option where every resident will be delivered an 18-gallon recycling bin, as they have today with a lid. Residents will have the option, if selected, to upgrade to a recycling cart for those that want them.
And we can still use our typical carts that we're using now, 32-gallon or whatever they are, for the pickup?
For garbage.
For garbage, correct. Yeah.
And do you offer a cart if so desired?
For $5 more.
For
$3.
garbage? Or
garbage?
We do sell them. We didn't put together kind of like a monthly fee, but if you wanted to buy a CWD gray poly cart, we typically charge about $80.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah.
Will there be a one-pager or something that outlines, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to expect, that's coming?
Jill
There will be a lot coming.
Jill probably has.
It'll be much more than one page over time.
Yeah. Jill has a job back there.
Yeah, so we will need to make sure that residents know about this. I think as I was kind of just talking with several of you about this, I mentioned going through a waste hauler change is one of the more
disruptive
types of things that you ever do in local government. And so we're going to want to make sure that we are in front of everyone, communicating what's happening, when it's happening, what the changes are, what the new days will be, things like that. There will be a massive effort underway over the next 5 months, as you can kind of see on that chart up there, to make sure that residents are both aware that all the changes happen, all the businesses are aware. Remember that all their things have to be switched out as well. All of the dumpsters and things like that have to be changed over. So there is a lot to do. We'll make sure that our residents are aware of that, and then not only up to the date, but also for several weeks after that, it will still be very much communicating what those changes are and how it is that it impacts them. So,
On the small recycling containers, all residents will get one. Can they get a second? I mean, and if so, there'll be a cost, I assume?
I don't believe there is one today.
No,
I don't know much how.
We're not going to use our blue bins anymore?
No, he's saying he may not, a
You'll
cost
get a
for
new-
additional. You can request additional.
Somehow I've ended up with 7 of the ones that I.
That's where my second one went. Hey, neighbor.
It blew down the street. I got 2 of yours.
The wind picked it up. Took it down.
The bins are very difficult to track, and they accumulate and become storage containers in garages.
Yes,
I've got a few and have since I was this tall, but I mean, we can work with
Yeah, well, I doubt that there will be much of a charge, if any, for additional 18-gallon carts. I mean, or bins, I'm sorry, on that part. Those who are interested in having a lot of bins, usually we'll try and kind of encourage them to get the 95-gallon cart if it's available for
The
them.
big one, yeah. Okay.
Well, like you're buying a car, I got a trade, so I got 7 trades. So
There you go,
whatever
exactly.
you do.
Yeah. But there will be, all of those bins will need to be collected, and then you'll be given a new 18-gallon bin as part of the contract with CWD.
So there's blue now, as I understand.
Yes,
So ours will
we're
be
blue-
green.
We're blue bins.
Correct.
And ours will be green.
Oh,
And we try to encourage that. It helps the drivers stay streamlined. They know what they're looking for, and that's.
So we can't use we cannot keep our blue bins and use blue bins and green bins.
That'll be a problem.
You are supposed to turn in your blue bins.
Yeah.
Good luck. Okay. Any other questions? Y'all good?
I'm happy to make a motion.
Okay.
If the chair would have it. I would move that we approve an ordinance granting a franchise agreement to Community Waste Disposal for solid waste and recycling collection, authorizing the town manager to negotiate and execute the franchise agreement, and directing staff to prepare an ordinance to make necessary updates to Article 13.02, solid waste of the Town Code of Ordinances.
I'll second.
Okay.
She started it. Give it to her.
He made the motion. Jeff second. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, motion passes. Thank you very much. Sorry you had to wait so long, but it was fun, wasn't it? Didn't you enjoy
Don't
this?
forget the business card.
I learned a lot.
You got to meet a lot, you were able to meet a lot of our residents, those will be your new customers.
That's true.
Thank you all.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I have a question for Dean.
You need a break? No.
No, it's, if I want to make a motion to reconsider an agenda item, do I need to wait to the end of the agenda, or can I make it in between agenda items? The reason I'm asking is, I would make a motion to reconsider number 12 if we deleted trucks from the motion. And I don't know if I would have a second for that reconsideration or not.
I think you can ask the mayor if she wants to.
You want to consider it
You
now or
can
later?
try it out if you'd like.
Entertain a
All right,
motion.
I'd like to make a motion to reconsider agenda item number 12. And on our agenda package, my intent is to see if the vote would be different if it did not include any trucks.
I'll second
Well,
that.
okay, now that we have a motion and a second, okay, vote.
There's a second. Stacy seconds that. Now discussion, please.
We had 2 no votes.
Well, discussion on the reconsideration and not on the content change.
Yeah, no,
right?
no, no, no,
Gotcha.
no, no, yeah, no, 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 Rowland.
Give us 1 second real quick, hold on.
No, 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 no.
By the way, council, I'm on page 536 of our packet.
Well, I'm at 555. What did you say?
536, reconsideration. Motion for reconsideration.
So here's what I'll say. Yeah, so Brandon brings up a good point. Ordinarily, the motion to reconsider would come from someone who is a no vote. So I would,
Ordinarily, but is that required?
so it's
It
not
doesn't say
required,
anything
but-
about a no vote in here.
So what I would propose is that you just add that to the motion for consideration.
So you need to redo
So
the
amend your
motion.
motion to reconsider.
I make a motion to reconsider voting on agenda number 12, item number 12, if trucks were deleted from the motion.
Second.
Now, we'll call a point of order, if I can, if I
Yes,
may,
sir.
based on Dean. Our code of ordinance, our rules of procedure is clear that where things are not specified, we fall back to Robert's Rules of Order. There was a very famous vote at Byron Nelson High School where a current MUD director voted no for something when he was on council that he supported so that he could retain the option to bring it back for reconsideration that evening if necessary. His name's Bill Rose, and I know he'll back me up on this. I don't believe Dennis can make this motion based on our
All
rules of
right,
procedure.
then I will withhold that change until we approve this rules of procedure.
Okay.
Then I will make the motion again.
Well, we have a point of order, so I think the mayor needs to address that.
Sorry,
I do
sorry.
have a
I'm going to-
question, though, but on that. Can another council member, 2 of us, put something on the agenda for next time?
Well, yeah, you
can we bring
could, but I mean,
Can we
I'm
bring it
reading the
back?
motion tonight, and I'm not going to try and put David through a bunch of another rigmarole.
No.
If one of the two no votes would change, if there were no trucks in there, it's worth considering. If both of them start shaking their head no, then it's not worth the time. But I will wait until after we approve this.
So are you rescinding what you
I'm
just said?
rescinding what I am for a couple of.
Play like you didn't hear all of that.
Okay.
We're done. Okay, now let's go to the next agenda item, please. Thank you.
That's all right.
Did Bill call you?
No, but he would if we did it.
Okay, we will go to number 16, I think.
Consider authorizing the town manager to negotiate and execute a construction contract with Home Run Construction LLC in the amount not to exceed $1,121,407 for the construction of dedicated pickleball courts at Harmony Park.
Okay, no public hearing. Go for it.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Excited to come before you again on one of the final steps that we go through in order to start construction with these types of projects. Before us is the design that has been previously voted on. That background's currently in the staff report for you. But want to highlight, this is looking at the 6 pickleball courts and the relocation of the bocce ball, as well as the basketball court at Harmony Park. On November 14th, we did an RFP for construction services for our general contractor that was out on the street for 30 days. That closed on mid-December, and we had 2 firms that had submitted. And through that evaluation, Home Run Construction LLC was evaluated on their price as well as the references as the best value for the city to be the general contractor for this project. If approved tonight, as we would be looking at establishing that contract over the next couple of weeks, we would anticipate that early February we would have a groundbreaking. And that typically this takes 8 to 9 months for construction, so we would be looking to a fall opening, which is perfect because if we have another hot summer like we did this summer, pickleballers weren't out there this summer. So hopefully we can get it to that point of opening in the fall when it starts cooling down, and we'll have a grand opening based on that. The exciting part is with our partners with McAdams and their construction estimation that they were right on point where the bids came in. And so with all design and construction, as well as a little wiggle room for an owner contingency, and that's kind of like insurance for us as we go through this. We may or may not use it. Still comes under the budget of $1.3 million that was allocated for this. And so staff would recommend that the town council move to authorize the town manager to negotiate and execute a construction contract with Home Run Construction LLC, an amount not to exceed $1,121,407 for the construction of dedicated pickleball courts at Harmony Park. And we do have Joe Yates, which is the managing partner for Home Run Construction, as well as Megan here from McAdams in the audience as well.
Well, they've been here for so long, I'd hate for us tonight to ask you a question. Anybody have anything of them? Y'all want to come up here for just a second?
No,
No,
no.
come on.
He's like, no,
Tired. Come on, come on.
He's tired.
Thank you for your work. And I don't know about the rest of the guys, but I'm pretty excited about this. Can't be here fast enough, so. Anybody have questions?
No.
Luann? Anybody?
Thank you. Just thank you.
I do, actually, me. That basketball court, is that going to be larger than what we currently have?
It'll be the same size.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
Okay.
And it'll be lighted as well. So the courts.
Fine, that's great.
The only going down is going from 3 bocce ball to 2.
Yeah, I
But
knew that.
they'll all be lit and
That'll be nice.
it'll be awesome.
That looks really
Won't
good.
be any bleachers?
We will have little seating areas between the tennis as well as the pickleball as kind of that social gathering area. And then there are off to the side of the pickleball some shaded cover areas just to help cool down. But as far as your standard bleachers, we don't anticipate that having the need for multiple row bleachers, more just sitting, congregating spaces as people are waiting to play.
Good. All right. Thank
Mayor,
you. What?
Mayor, I make a motion, we approve the agenda item number 16.
Second, Stacy seconds that. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, don't raise your hand. Okay. Motion passes. Number 17.
Consider a resolution adopting the Trophy Club Town Council Rules of Procedure.
All right, very good. So this evening, we do have in front of us, after kind of a number of town council meetings where we've had and several workshops where we have been exploring the rules of procedure for the town council. Our town charter requires us to put in place rules of procedure. We have done that before by ordinance. This change here would be removing it from the ordinance, putting it into a handbook that is then a little bit more easy to find all the sections, a little bit more complete in what it covers, and really provides a good framework by which the council can use and staff can use to help ensure regularity and consistency with the rules that the town council has with that. So we've done several topics. I'll cover one item that has been added since our last meeting that we added in when we had a council member join us virtually during the meeting. We were looking at the rules of procedure and realized we don't have a section to address virtual participation. So if you're in the manual, if you want to go to section 2.6, it is on page 528 to 555 on your packets. And I'll just cover quickly the video conference participation on this. Now, we did pull a number of other towns and cities and took a look at the way that they have written their rules related to this section here. And so I just wanted to cover this to make sure that the council is aware of what these points are and see if there are any edits for it. I think for the most part, this is pretty, very typical language of what you find in some other places. Essentially, it provides for the fact that the council can go ahead and participate remotely when needed on this under certain regulations and stipulations. First of all, is that you have to meet, there's a number of items here that are required by state law. I'm just going to ignore those things, like you have to have a quorum of those present. That's just a state law item. The second one, though, is no more than 2 council members may participate in a single meeting via video conference granted on a first come, first served basis. A quorum of you is 4. However, we were thinking if you get to 3 virtual, we probably would want to stop. So 2 is probably where we would just kind of hit the limit on the number of virtual attendees for that. Again, some other cities and towns have that rule in place just to make sure that it doesn't get overwhelming with the number of virtual attendees. We put down on the 4th paragraph under section A there is that remote participation shall be limited to open or closed meetings held at town hall where sufficient technology is available and conduct remote participation in accordance with state law. There are rooms we have here where we may be hosting meetings periodically that don't necessarily work for video participation during those meetings. At such point, those would not be available to have video participation during those meetings in those locations. Let's see, then if we go on to section, there's something in there that says that in case of a personal emergency, right, council members may request video conference participation by notifying the mayor or town manager no later than 5 p.m. on the business day prior to the meeting. The idea there is to try and let us know a little bit in advance so that way we can prep the technology and make sure that everything works. On the technology and public access, essentially what on the video conference participating side, the importance of making sure that they have technology that works, right, that they're hooked up, that it can, produce good sound, things like that. That's all on the responsibility of the person participating by video conference. The last point there is an important one. The town council, this is section C under technology and public access. The town council meeting will proceed as scheduled and will not be paused or adjourned due to technical or technology issues affecting the participation of remotely attending council members. In other words, if that person's video cuts out or whatever it is, we don't stop the meeting and wait till they kind of come back, right? The meeting just kind of carries on as if that person is absent for the remainder of that time. Video etiquette, right? Making sure that person's face is clearly visible and audio must be clear while speaking. Executive session, that if that person is participating by video conference in a executive session, that the same rules apply to that person, right? They need to be in a room that is alone where no one else has access to hearing them, recording them, things like that for that purpose. For that. And then frequency. Frequency is kind of one of the ones that we talked about a little bit on the staff side for this. The intent here, I think, and this is kind of based on different conversations we've had with the council over time, is that the idea is that we want to encourage council members to attend in person, and this council does a fantastic job with doing that on that. And therefore, a council member who desires to attend more than 2 meetings remotely in any calendar year must request that access from the council. So the council would just consider an item authorizing someone to have more when they need it for that, and then they would go ahead and approve that person having more times than 2. And that the justifications for things like that, right, good cause on the next page, so I'm on section F on the bullet points there. Examples of good cause are things like sudden illness or hospitalization, conflicts related to employment, or conflicts related to planned travel. Those would be things that might trigger a good cause reason for extending the number of video conference participations by someone. And then section G, the eligibility for remote attendees. Our thought there is that for those boards and commissions, essentially the ones that we record on video on it, and we do those ones on purpose because they have they run more like officers, right? They have responsibilities to approve certain things, spend budgets. So that's planning and zoning, ZBA. It's your EDC, the Crime Control and Prevention District. Those types of boards, they can have video participation when needed. The other ones would not be allowed. So if it's like a Parks and Rec board or the Arts Council or things like that, and someone wanted to participate remotely, that would not be allowed for those commissions, but it would be for the ones that you have kind of more of those. There's a important business purpose that needs to be accomplished by that board, possibly things like approving budgets, hearing a zoning case, or things like that for it. So those are the that section. That's how we've kind of laid it out. It's open, obviously, for feedback from the council on that section, but those are the changes that we have proposed for video conferencing. Other than that, everything I think is very consistent with the way we've previously discussed the previous sections. So, thank you.
Okay. Have we had a motion? Have we had a motion for this?
Not yet.
Okay, we need a motion. It is 9:56.
Time for motion time.
You want to make a motion, Rowan?
I would be happy to make a motion. I do have a quick question, but I'll get a motion on the floor first.
Okay, good.
I'll make a motion to approve a resolution adopting the Trophy Club Town Council Rules of Procedure.
Jeff seconds that. Before we vote, what do you have?
I just wanted to double check with staff on section 6-7 waiver of rules. In our previous, and I apologize for not doing my homework, in our previous, or the procedure that we're currently operating under, was that also a simple majority to waive rules, or was it a super majority? Simple majority, so that's no change? Okay. I just hadn't thought about that in a really long time because nobody ever does it. And so I wanted to check. That's all I have.
Your question's been answered?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed? It passes. Motion passes.
Mayor, on the basis of, okay, it is an approved rules that under Rule 4.10, procedures for agenda items, I have the right to make a motion to reconsider the previous agenda item number 12. My basis for reconsidering is I was a yes vote at that time, was if one of the no votes would change if there was no trucks involved. And I asked for a second.
Yes, but
I'll second, then we can talk about it.
Yeah, okay, second, and we can talk about it. He has to have trucks.
No, he doesn't have to have trucks. No.
They move in and out.
No, he doesn't have to have trucks.
Okay, I'm not going to get into
Okay, so you need a vote on, but I'll say this before you do that.
We need to vote on the agenda item.
The ordinance is still existing on the record, right? So the next agenda item includes an ordinance that outlines your rules of procedure. So you need to, you have adopted.
You need to do 18 too.
You have adopted rules now by resolution, but you still have an ordinance on the.
Oh, yeah, we still have another agenda item, actually.
That's right.
All right, so I have to do it.
Withdraw your motion, please.
I will withdraw my motion.
Yeah, you're going to get it in before 10 o'clock.
I want the rules to be effective And I,
Yes.
But she's going to apply adjourn before I get a chance to say
You
anything.
have 1 minute, and, okay,
All
let's
right.
read
Item 18.
Item 18, please.
Consider an ordinance amending Chapter 1, General Provisions, Article 1.03, Town Council, by repealing Division 2, Meetings of Rules of Procedure in its entirety, and by amending Article 1.04, Boards, Commissions, and Committees, Division 1 generally, by adding a new section, 1.04.011, background checks of board and commission applicants of the Code of Ordinances.
Mayor, I make a motion, we approve agenda item number 18.
Second.
Stacy seconds. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed? We
Mayor,
are.
can I make a, just,
Put that down, Mayor.
I get to,
take that away from her. Take that away from her. Mayor, under
don't
the
need
rules of 4.10, procedures for agenda items, I make a request that I make a motion to reconsider agenda item number 12. And whatever else Dean said I need to say.
Second.
Doesn't he have to add what he wants to amend?
Probably
well, you
not.
got a motion and a second.
Who did the second?
So you
And
just,
or Steve picked one.
Steve did it.
so all you're doing is you're voting on the motion to reconsider and then bring
And
back
then
the agenda item. And I'm going to say this, open it up again for public hearing. Let's do the whole thing all over again.
So in other words, we're bringing the agenda item next. Okay,
Yeah, this is just a motion to
okay.
basically resurrect.
I'm going to be
So we
absent
need
next time.
a vote.
So you need a vote on the
You're not
motion on the
gonna be-
floor.
What, we need a vote?
You need a vote on the motion to
Yeah, right.
reconsider.
Okay, for all those in favor of that motion, raise your hand.
Okay, Mayor, so now you have item 12.
All those opposed,
all those.
raise your hand.
Okay. Would you change your mind if
Mayor,
it was?
Mayor.
Wait, that was
Bring-
Mayor. B.
bring up-
Need to
Who was
read,
the
open the
third?
public
Wait.
hearing.
Public hearing.
Right, over here.
I was the third.
Oh,
Yes,
thank you,
ma'am.
sir.
Okay. So now you bring up,
Motion failed.
start.
The motion failed.
No,
No, it passed.
Oh, wait, because it's not a supermajority. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, I
That's
got
right.
it. Yeah, okay, it passed then.
Now we should read item 12.
So you're reading item 12, yes.
Okay. Read item 12, somebody. Okay.
Public
So-
hearing.
Okay, go for it.
Public hearing and consider an ordinance amending Plan Development District 13, PD 13, Tract 1, to allow for truck and trailer rental as an accessory use with outdoor storage and display of vehicles. Do you want me to read that? The applicant is David Sanders, owner of the Ship Shop, and subject property is legally described as the Village at Trophy Club, Lot 1, approximately 3.79 acres, Denton County, Texas, and is generally located at the northwest corner of Trophy Club Drive and State Highway 114. The property is addressed as 2003 East Texas 114, Suite 340, Trophy Club, Texas.
Now we need a motion on that.
Now we open up for a public hearing.
It's 10:02, it's a public hearing. Who wants
Close
to,
the public hearing.
who wants to speak?
Close it. Time.
Yeah, 10:02.
Thank you.
I mean,
Close the public hearing.
10:02 again. Public hearing's closed.
Now you're going to reconsider.
Now you're going to consider the item.
Now you're considering the item.
Okay.
If,
Now I can say something? Yeah. There's two no votes. Ryland is based on a land issue, and Jeff was a no vote. On the land issue, there's many times that once something's done, like for an example, the barbecue place right here with all those beautiful smokestacks, in my opinion, on a land use, that would never have been approved, right? But as a reuse or a continuing use of that, it got approved. So this may not be something that would have been done on the original side, but as it is taken in view of what's there now and what could be there now, and what I mean by that is it is a strip center and it's not changing, not in my lifetime. So therefore, on the land use, I'd like to ask you to reconsider on the basis of that it's not original, that it's a reuse type thing. And I object to the big trucks, and I understand your issue on the trucks. And if we say no trucks, then that includes drop-offs in transit. And so that's where I'm coming from. If I don't have a case, then say so, and let's get on with life, and we'll let the mayor adjourn this thing.
Well, my thought on this is there's an alternative way to pursue this business. And it does not add to the aesthetics of the town. It was never considered by the owner. He's had his own personal trailer, which we've glossed over, for rent for the 6 years that he's been here in violation of the codes. And
Okay, no, I understand. Thank you. I appreciate it. At least we had a chance to listen to you. All right, Ryland,
Yeah,
can I ask you if you change?
I'll say one other thing that I actually kind of thought about saying earlier, but felt bad 'cause I felt like I was talking too much, which is that, I'm sorry, y'all should have seen it 8-9 years ago. I used to talk even more. We had a business that operated under a certain set of circumstances for several years. This use came in, and in a very short period of time, he is making the case that it is critical to the operation of the business. That is an indication to me that if, I'm not convinced, but if that's 100% true, this portion of that business is going to continue to grow, which is probably not the desired outcome for the location. So it furthers my risk on the, you're right about the reuse thing, but I think it's risky.
But if it's limited on the use of what he can do.
Then he'll come, we'll be right back here having the same conversation and the same violins getting played about how we're going to go out of business.
If it expands his business, that expands the sales tax. Yeah, but it's something. That expands the people coming into this town eating.
I will say that at the end of the day, for me, the reason why this was a simple decision for me is that is not the right place for a truck rental location. It's just not. The lot's very shallow. It's on very, ultimately, whether it looks pretty or not, it is high value frontage, and we all know it. It is not. That is a use that is typically confined to more industrial areas.
But is it industrial?
No. There's a barbecue restaurant 2 doors over.
That has
so yeah, I'm pretty sad.
I appreciate that. Let's get on with life, Mayor.
And I want to thank Dennis for pursuing and giving our new rules of procedure a spin.
Give it
Thank you.
What, do we need to take a vote, or we don't have no motion? So yeah.
No motion. Yeah.
There was no second.
Good job.
10:06.
Well,
Dennis.
thank you. I appreciate your comments.
Oh, my goodness.
We tried.
Thank you very much. It's been a long